What's good, gamers? Starting off today, all caps, with some Tasho watch-alongs. Watch-alongs.
Do you think it's weird when you have to go into other people's closets?
I'm so used to it now, and I
My
love
headphones,
it. I feel like I get to
water in me.
learn so much about people
Are you folding their underwear too?
with gloves.
Okay. I wouldn't want anyone near my underwear.
Yeah.
Yeah, in that chair
Tasho time.
that you're sitting in.
Here we
Feet
go.
up.
I'm in a great mood because I survived the weekend.
Glad to hear it.
You live in love.
Woo! My son
There you go.
and my wife went to New York City
There you go.
to watch a bunch of Broadway plays. My son enjoys singing and watching plays, and I had an idea. I said, why don't you guys just go to New York City? He's never been. This will be his first trip to the Big Apple. And she was like, I don't know, like this will be my wife's first time away from our daughter, who's just now over a year. Anyway, they did a wonderful time. And she did, you know, she was so busy there, and she loves plays that it didn't even bother her that she was being a horrible mother to her baby daughter. But anyway, I had a great time.
That was great.
I had a great time with my daughter alone, and I don't have nannies, and I don't ever look down on people that do have nannies. All of our friends have nannies. Here's why I don't have a nanny. It's a very simple reason.
Ooh, the sword.
I just don't want somebody else in my house.
That makes sense.
I
would feel the
just
same
don't
way, to
want
be real with you.
another body in my house.
Yeah, too many.
But
You already got
staying
over
with my
4.
daughter all weekend
And you
was
got a
so
dog, you got
enjoyable,
Carl.
Because this is what we did.
And you got
every
silky,
time she
like
took
3
a
silky
nap,
chickens, probably more.
I just took a nap with
Oh
her.
my god, you got a
I
lot.
was like, this is great. Oh, it was great. Just double naps every day. Best weekend of my life.
I mean, not only did you survive it, you're well rested.
Oh, here's the thing. My wife gets back, and she's a little emotional. You know, hugs her daughter, and how did she do? You know, we FaceTimed a bunch throughout it. It just went fine. I was like, am I gonna lie? Am I gonna lie to my wife and say how much that her daughter missed her? Because she didn't. She didn't miss her at all. Like she was happy the whole time. Don't get me wrong. If my wife is in the room, that's who my daughter wants to go to, you know, for attention. But when she's not there, it's like, all right, now dad's number one. And I hated to say it to her, but I was like, listen, if our daughter was kidnapped, if the kidnappers were good people, our daughter wouldn't care.
But they kidnapped someone, so aren't they like essentially already a bad person?
It's just the reality. She'd be fine.
I mean, I guess
She'd be
not.
like, yeah,
Everybody's
these new
situational.
people, look at them, they're awesome. Happy every day still. So, I mean, that's a tough thing to say to your wife when she gets home, is that you're not needed. But
That's crazy.
I think you know what I'm trying to say.
I don't.
All right, I hear we're gonna open the floodgates to some comments. That always gets me in a great mood.
Oh boy.
Some feedback here.
You got feedback?
We got feedback.
All right, who are we starting with?
It's from the Michelle Wee episode.
Uh-huh.
I'm a college English professor who teaches interview tactics, and I show students Daniel Tosh. This is an outstanding interview. Thank you, Daniel. Please keep being you and showing everyone how it's done. You are awesome.
Hey, look at that. I tell you what I want, though. I want you to send me an honorary degree, or I send you a cease and desist letter for using my video without my permission.
Oh.
How's that?
Oh shit.
Just wanted some more YouTube comments, okay?
Okay.
Came all the way from Spotify to tell you I hate this episode.
Well,
Thank you for being
don't
a
send me a
fan
cease and desist, please.
and listen to the
And
show
don't
on
sue
2
me, Tosh.
platforms.
I love you.
I think all of our listeners
Big fan.
can learn from that person. You know, you
Long-time
whenever
watcher.
You listen to your podcast. Why don't you listen to it on all of them at once? Oh,
If you sync it up, it'd be amazing.
no, don't sync it up. Get a little crazy.
A little crazy. Who's paying so much for you to shove pro-choice into every other sentence? It's ruining the show.
Well, now I wasn't even going to bring up abortion in this episode, and here you go. Now I have to talk about it. And if I'm going to be completely honest and transparent, I actually receive kickbacks from the abortion industry. Anytime someone from out of state comes to California, the great state of California, and has a legal, safe abortion, what do we get paid, Eddie?
$17.50.
We get $17.50 if you use the promo code TOSSHOW.
That's great. That's crazy.
Use that.
Be sure to use that.
It's so stupid.
This next one hits somebody on the crew here.
Uh-oh.
Don't know if having the ghost question 25 minutes into the conversation is Tosh messing with people or just another Dylan fuck-up. Reeks of the latter. Come on, Dylan.
Does Dylan even still work here? Nah, that's a yep. Oh, man.
That was great.
Dylan's good for one fuck-up per week. Which isn't good for a show that's on once a week. It bothers me, too, though, when people are
That's
like,
fucking great.
oh, you don't ask the ghost question anymore. And then they're like, oh, you did. It was just later. You say it's the first question, but it's never the first question. I don't get comedy. Listen. I don't get it.
He's
I don't
so
get why some of
mad.
these
That's
people
so
listen to the
great.
show.
I was gonna take the
So
350Z and drop a
fucking
fucking mean boy in the
Stop.
bitch.
We don't unsubscribe.
Did he make the stupid border bigger just because he knows people don't like it?
The border is beautiful. End of discussion. Everyone knows it. It's a game changer in Hollywood. So sick of talking about the borders.
What the fuck?
You know who appreciates the sleek, minimalist set that we've created without all the tchotchkes? Today's guest. Enjoy. My guest today will come to your home and help you put away your clothes if you pay her. She is an organizer to the stars, which means she has worked with numerous assistants tasked with arranging shelves of $10,000 handbags. Please welcome professional organizer Janelle.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Now, as you can tell, probably from my set, I hate clutter.
Yes, minimalism.
Every podcast or show, interview show, where they just have tons of knickknacks surrounding them, and they say, oh, it makes it more interesting to look at, and I just reply, oh, I don't care.
Yes, and also it's just like distracting, I feel like.
Knowing that I was interviewing you today, I went into my wife's nightstand.
Okay.
This is what was in right next to her bed. This is what was in her nightstand.
Okay. I know what those are.
Yeah. These are nipple covers for when she was lactating. She hasn't breastfed. She hasn't needed these in so long. We're not having more children. This is just right next to her. I'm like, why the fuck do you have 100 nipple? By the way, they stink to high heavens. I don't like it. I'm just like, this is what I live with. I'm just so grossed out.
Why don't you just take them and throw them away?
Well,
okay.
they're-
Or you brought them to show me.
I brought them to show you to make fun of her, and now they'll hit the trash. I normally don't go into her stuff because it enrages me. You grew up in Los Angeles.
I did. The Valley.
Are you messed up?
I don't think so. I think I'm pretty well adjusted, but maybe if I moved somewhere else, I'd be...
Are your parents still
She
together?
seems sporadic,
They are.
like me.
And my dad is
which
born
I
and
like.
raised in Hollywood.
Oh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of normal LA folk.
Yep.
Where'd you go to college? UCLA?
Yeah, I went really far.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've really seen a lot of the country.
To study musical theater.
Yeah.
What's that cost?
Well, I will say, because I went to UCLA and I'm an in-state, it was not that bad. But if I had chosen any of the other schools I had applied to...
Not that bad. What are we thinking? What kind of number are we putting on that?
Honestly, I don't even remember, but I feel like I don't really have student loans, so...
How many productions were you in before you realized singing and dancing is an embarrassing way to move the story forward?
A few too many. A few too many.
Do you still get into it?
Honestly, I never really... I went to musicals growing up, and I was into it. My mom was very into musical theater, still is. I never really was like a huge musical theater obsessive
Oh my God, the
person.
cops.
I always did it as a skill, like as a job, but since I was young. But I never really like went to the theater just for fun.
Your favorite play? What's your favorite play?
I really liked Come From Away. Have you ever seen that?
No, I've seen nothing. You know the one I want to see? That propaganda one from China. It's the
Oh,
time.
Shen Yun.
Yeah.
You ever seen Shunyin?
Never, but I've always been so curious.
Isn't it? I heard it's just propaganda, right? It's just Chinese propaganda.
Couldn't tell you, but those posters really get you. They spend a lot on
They
their
set up
billboards.
tents in Santa Monica. That's where they
Yes.
put it on.
They really go hard.
How did you pivot to becoming a professional organizer?
My mom has this amazing walk-in pantry, my mom and dad, and you couldn't walk in it. Just a shit show, terrible, awful. So for Mother's Day, I guess it was 6 years ago, I redid her pantry. And I took pictures before and after. I was like so proud of it. I put it on Facebook. And people were like, can you come do that for me? I always wanted to be an entrepreneur and start my own business. I just was kind of stuck in musical theater and didn't know how to get out. And it very quickly turned into a profitable business, like overnight.
That's pretty good. So zero struggle.
I mean, zero struggle, no. But I mean, huge learning curves and everything. But it definitely was something that just kind of fell into my lap. I said okay, and I just went for it.
Did you only take on rich clients?
Actually, at the start, no.
But now?
Now, yeah.
And what do poor people have to do? Just like...
Oh, come on. Poor people can be organized too.
It's easier if you've got a larger place.
Yes, it's definitely easier if you have a larger place and a lot more space, but also then you have more stuff. So...
At what age did you realize you might be a type A with OCD?
I would say I always thought it was like more recent, like in the last 5 years. But then when the pandemic happened, I was looking at all my old childhood videos and I found a video of me folding and ironing at 2 years old. So I would say, I've always been that way.
By the way, is OCD, do you hate when people throw that term around?
Well, it's funny because I did share that in an interview one time that I had OCD and whatever, and people came for me online. But I actually am clinically OCD and take medication for it, so
Oh,
it doesn't
wow.
bother me. I
Okay.
think I've used it as like my
Well, how do
superpower.
People have always accused me of being OCD.
Do you have OCD?
Maybe. I've never been diagnosed. I just feel like it's just something that fucking dirty people, my wife, like to say to me to try to hurt me.
Even though it's like a beautiful thing to be clean and neat.
Right. No, it's their way of taking a shot at me. Like,
Yeah.
oh, everything has to be so. And I'm like, just accept that you're gross.
Well, it is interesting because I have friends who have OCD who are not clean and share nothing in common with me whatsoever. So I'm just grateful that my OCD turned into something that could make me money down the line and make my life neat and clean. So, I mean, I'll take it.
You've always been organized.
I mean, I question some of my choices back in the day when I look at my room from growing up or whatnot, but I've always been very hyper-focused on my surroundings. Like, that has always very much mattered to me.
Are you good at getting rid of stuff?
Oh, I get rid of stuff before I should.
Are you preaching minimalism or no?
I'm preaching have what makes you happy.
Ugh. I just want to get rid of shit all
I mean,
the time.
in my personal life, literally everything is gone instantly. Actually, not that long ago, I did like a clean of the kitchen, threw away a $600 check that my fiance had just gotten that day, and he was like, I didn't even have a chance to open the mail, and you already had thrown it away.
Why is he getting checks in the mail?
It was like from the government. It was like a
The government.
return or something, and he had to like go through getting it resubmitted and everything. It was
Who
a
is this?
nightmare.
This is your husband?
Fiance.
Fiance.
Soon to be husband
When are you getting married?
in June.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah.
Now, are you planning everything? Are you a bridezilla?
No, I'm not a bridezilla, I would hope. I have a planner who's doing most of it.
Uh-huh.
That part.
Outside?
Yeah,
Religious?
I'm Jewish.
Uh-huh.
So we'll stand under a chuppah and break the glass.
That's kind of fun, though.
Yeah,
That part.
it is.
Then once it gets into a lot of routines, I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
Can we eat? What's the best way for someone who's a total disaster to try to get organized?
Start small. Start with one small pain point, like a junk drawer. Because I think organizing is something that once you start, you see the benefit and you kind of get addicted to it. So if you start with one little thing and you can see, oh wow, I really did that, then you're more likely to move on to other areas of your home.
Do you think you could kick the shit out of Marie Kondo?
Absolutely. I'm sorry, Marie.
That's okay.
I do.
Are you tall?
5'7".
Oh no. You're
That's not tall to you?
No.
I mean, it's taller than the average.
5'5" is the average?
Yeah,
What's the average?
I guess 5'5".
Well, how do you know it's taller than the average if you don't know what the average
Because
is?
I'm taller than all my friends.
Oh, and that's what you
And like a
consider
pair of
the
pants
average?
is hard to buy because I have long legs.
What's your inseam?
I don't know.
How do you...
I just hold it up and I hope for the best.
What is your... Straighten up. That's your
Yes.
system.
Yes.
What is it?
I mean, it's just my business name,
Okay.
Straighten Up by Janelle.
What's the difference between you and Marie?
I think she's amazing. She like started the whole, movement of organizing.
Right, but her thing was like if it brings you joy.
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
believe in any of that. I like
You don't
to
believe in joy?
No joy. Well, I think that like some people can't necessarily connect with joy. Like they look at it and they're just like, I don't know, and so then they keep it. And you're like, so you have to bring up other things. Like, do you need it first? Like I have a bunch of like little rules that I bring up when I'm doing an edit with people to help them figure out if they want it, like it, need it. Some people can't decide. Like they're so paralyzed by decisions. And so I have all these ways to kind of pry it out of them. But when it comes to joy, I don't really agree. And I try to come in and make it really fun. So I'm like, let's put music on. Let's make it a party. Like I come in no judgment. Like
What kind of music do you go with?
whatever they want.
Oh,
Whatever
you know
they
what I like to do when somebody comes into my house for like the first time and they
What?
don't really know me? I like to just have in every room in the house, I use the Sonos, I hit all, and I just start playing Limp Bizkit.
Oh.
And I just want to confuse the fuck out of them.
That's beautiful.
Just like, is he listening to Limp Bizkit?
Should I do that every time I go to do an edit? Turn that on.
It's 2024. Do you think it's weird when you have to go into other people's closets?
I'm so used to it now, and I love it. I feel like I get to learn so much about people.
Right, but they don't. That's uncomfortable, isn't it?
They're usually there with me. They're like, they're open to it. They're ready for it.
Are you folding their
Oh,
underwear
Amelia.
too?
Thank you,
With
Amelia.
gloves.
Okay. I wouldn't want anyone near my underwear.
Oh, shoot.
I always ask. Like we set boundaries.
If you ask,
like
hey,
what
hey,
drawers can I not open?
if you said, hey, can I touch your underwear? I'd go like this. I'd go, no! And you'd be like, whoa, Jesus. No.
Some people, like, I walk in, they're like, okay, you can't touch that, you can't touch that. And then other people are like, whatever you say, you tell me to jump off a cliff, I'm jumping off. Like, goes very different ways.
Is a lot of your system just informing people? Like, go to the container store?
I do it. I do it all. I bring all the things. My assistant shows up with like a car full of stuff to the brim.
What about garages? Do you tackle garages?
Yes, but typically my assistant handles them. He's actually doing a garage today and tomorrow. Right now as we speak.
Oh, man, I like...
He's the king of garages.
I mean, I like built-ins in a garage.
I design them and put them in.
Okay.
Yeah, with doors. I don't want to see the stuff. Yes.
How many surfboards in a garage would you say is too many?
If it doesn't fit on an organizer?
No, it's organized.
Oh, so then however many, as long
Okay,
as it
good.
fits.
It's time for some real talk. Transparent or opaque storage bins?
I personally like opaque.
Uh-huh.
A lot of my clients prefer transparent so they can see what they have, but I don't want to see any of it. Have you seen those new things where it's like a QR code and you put it on the bin in the garage and you just scan it and it'll tell
Ooh,
you
a
what's in that
Porsche?
bin?
I don't want that
A
kind of
Porsche
Oh,
might
it's so
dust me.
cool.
I don't like that type of level of
Really?
technology.
Okay.
It's too much.
It's really awesome.
You passed my wardrobe stylist on the way in.
Yes.
She comes to my house once every 3 or 4 months and just goes through my closet and just grabs stuff and gets rid of it and goes, you can't wear Golden Goose shoes anymore.
That's
You
true.
look like an old out of style person. Grabs them, they're gone. And I'm like, yeah, weren't they like $800? And she'll take 10 pair of them, they're gone.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, okay. I don't like when you guys stage closets so perfect and there's only
That makes me
9
sad.
things. It's like nobody.
I
has
thought I
9
had that
things.
one that
That's
time.
not fair. And they're all the exact same color. Like, knock it off.
I have not encountered that. Usually when I'm going into someone's house, there's like too many pairs of jeans to deal with and there's too many of stuff.
Of course, I'm talking about once you put your stamp of beauty on it and we see these shots.
It's interesting because other professional organizers that I've seen online, sometimes that is the thing, where you go and you're like, there's just like no freaking way that this is how people live. I feel like that my clients, it's realistic. I
Right.
try to make sure people get rid of shit that they shouldn't be wearing or that they shouldn't have, but keep what they should and what they do love.
I spent a fortune having a drawer organizer person come in
Okay.
and line every drawer in my house, every cabinet in my house, with leather lining and the dividers for
Beautiful.
everything. It's so beautiful.
That's everything.
You,
I want to come see.
I gotta.
Oh, I'm sure you have photos.
But,
Let's see it.
It's not even. I just snap, but just so that you can get the idea. Every drawer is, is right.
That's amazing.
She just kept saying, like, well, I could do the kitchen or we could do the whole house. And I'm like, do the whole house.
Just once you start, you can't stop.
But the amount of money that costs.
Oh, I'm sure.
What do you think that costs to have my drawers lined? Guys, go ahead. People, see, on the other side of the curtain are people that live in the normal world.
In the entire house?
Yeah. Fuck you. She wouldn't take a shit in my house for 20 grand.
$65,000.
I bet you it was between $60,000 and $80,000 for the house. I remember as a kid fantasizing about financial success, saying, if I could have a new pair of socks every day, that would be heaven.
Yes.
If I never re-wore a pair of socks. That was me as a child. That's when I knew I had a little bit,
Yes.
I wasn't the same as
He's like,
somebody
why
else.
would you do that?
That's yeah. That's true luxury.
Yeah, that would be. I haven't achieved that level. It's too much of a headache.
Yeah,
Although I
that's-
do like those stands. No shows.
Oh yeah, I'm doing the Bombas ones.
I like Bombas too. I used to love Lululemon and now I stopped liking them.
I don't like them anymore.
I don't like them anymore either. Hoarders. You ever actually worked with a real hoarder?
When I first started, yes. Once I had one experience with that, it was so overwhelming. Someone who's a hoarder doesn't need a professional organizer. They need a therapist, or they need someone who like specializes in that.
They need a wood chipper.
It was so anxiety inducing, I can't even explain it. And so immediately I was like, okay, now I need people to send me photos of their house and their space before I go into it so I can vet it. So now I vet it. And if it feels like it's a project that is like hoarder vibes, I'm like, I'm so sorry, but this is just not my specialty.
Eddie, you know who my favorite woman in my life is?
I would say your wife?
No, it's not my wife.
Your daughter.
Your housekeeper?
It's my housekeeper.
Mine too.
If any level of success that I got to, this is how I rewarded myself. Rufina, come an extra day. Come an extra day.
Yep.
And now my wife is like, we can't have her here every day. I'm like, yes, we can. But she doesn't, my wife, so I have to not let her come every day. But I have her come, and she knows that she's the most important woman in my life. Because I'm like, this is the only reason that I worked hard, was that I can have you to make sure everything is clean
stomping,
all
buddy.
the time.
A housekeeper all the time is the ultimate sign of luxury.
I don't want
Hey,
a cook
what'd
in
you
my
say?
house.
Just someone to keep it clean all the time.
Right. There's
Oh,
DoorDash.
yes.
I can have food brought over.
Yep.
Here's why I don't want you in my house.
Tell me.
Because anytime somebody comes over like it, they tell me immediately what other clients they've worked with, and I don't want to be added to that list.
I get that.
And I assume you found some pretty weird things in celebrities' homes.
All the things. But I've also signed a lot of NDAs.
Right, but you can talk in generalities.
Of course I
You ever
can.
seen a brick of cocaine?
No. Actually, I haven't.
All right, I don't know why.
I've seen cocaine, but not a brick.
Sure. You've seen drugs?
Oh, all the drugs.
Guns?
Tons of guns.
Tons of guns?
Lots of guns.
I don't have a gun in my... Oh, I do have guns. I have tons of guns in my house.
I
Sorry.
went to one house and there was a huge gun
Got s-
safe that was like
you got
double
scared.
the size of me.
Uh-huh.
He's like,
It
oh, he's
also
lagging?
It was like custom organized, the thing. It had like all these pockets. I was like, whoa, this is the next level.
Sex dungeon?
I don't know what it was.
No, have you
but-
ever seen a sex dungeon?
No, I haven't. All the sex toys.
Toys?
Tons of toys. Do you want to know the weirdest things I see? I see baby teeth. Like people save their kids'
Sure,
teeth
okay.
all the time. Use pregnancy tests and pet ashes.
Oh,
Pet.
I have a set of pet ashes in my
Yeah,
house.
I see them literally in
Well, just
every house.
a nice little wood box in a...
Usually it's like
a
the
little-
top of a closet, and they forget to tell me.
No.
So then it's like all of a sudden I'm discovering like dog ashes.
No, I don't.
And I'm not doing anything. Usually it's like a bathroom or a closet.
I one time threw, I was at a funeral and we were throwing somebody's mom away. You know it doesn't turn to ash?
No.
Teeth. There was like
So there's teeth in
there was
there?
definitely some chunks. I'm pretty sure I saw some teeth.
Ugh.
I'm pretty sure. All right, let's talk about fancy people.
Okay.
Celebrities. Blake Griffin and Carl Anthony Towns. Were they dream clients because of their height and ability to utilize vertical space?
You know what's funny is that they're like the hardest clients I've organized because their shoes don't
It's
fit
just
on a
shoes.
standard shelf. Nothing fits on the shelf though.
But is
'cause
that all they have too much of? Is just shoes?
they're everything?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I used to see Blake in my neighborhood a lot. He always made me laugh because one time he posted. Do you remember when there was that dress that was online? That was
The-
like which color
Yes,
it was? You
white or
saw-
gold,
right, you
blue
could-
or whatever.
And then he posted a photo of himself, but what color am I? And that just made me laugh forever.
It is great.
So like to know that you're self-aware that like people are like his color's a little different. Always made me love him.
He has great taste.
Does he?
Very good taste.
Oh, that's interesting.
And he's very, very organized.
You wrote a book just about folding. That sounds like a page term, but By the way, do you care if people dog ear when reading it? What are your thoughts on that?
I never even considered it.
Like a fold on a fold?
I mean, I guess if they're using it, then it's fine.
Encouraging people to buy a book, isn't that kind of cluttering, or where are you at on books?
I personally have a Kindle, but I have a bunch of coffee table books.
So
I
many
wrote a coffee table book. So
it's a coffee
it's a
table.
coffee table book.
Okay. Well, now let's talk folding towels, for instance. I like a roll.
Oh, sometimes I like a roll.
Okay.
I think there's so many different ways to do it.
Mm-hmm. I love Turkish towel. There can't be enough Turkish towels in a home, I say.
I mean, nice, fresh, clean, fluffy towels.
Well, the problem with Turkish towels, though, is that they're not really fluffy.
Those are like the thin ones.
They're almost like drying off the sheet.
I like those for like the pool or the beach or whatever. But
I keep them by the pool.
Yeah, like rolled up in a little basket. I think that's cute.
Oh, big basket. You can't let people know that you only got 10 Turkish towels. You have to have 50.
Got it. Do they all match?
No, they're all like different, like theme,
Oh, okay.
Moroccan-y feely.
Yep, okay.
I guess. I don't know.
They all vibe together.
They
though.
vibe together. You guys liking this, huh? No, I'm in my element. God damn it. By the way, I used to know how to do that fold trick where like you grab two corners and like, but that was like when I was a kid. I thought it was neat. You don't fold clothes like that.
No. I file fold. So it's like when you're looking into a drawer, it's like you're looking, like you can look for your clothes like, like papers in a file cabinet.
I do that with sweatshirts only.
Yeah, only sweatshirts? Not everything?
No, everything else I like to hang.
Oh, that's ideal.
Yes.
I mean, if you could hang everything.
Well, I can.
Do you fold your underwear?
Rufina does.
Okay, great.
But here's the thing with folding underwear, like, you can't lay a bunch of underwear down and then fold them over, and then it's like, oh, now I pick one up and they all...
Oh, no. I fold them into little pouches.
No.
So you could, like, throw it. It's like a little underwear pouch.
like if you had a little mini t-shirt gun in your room, you could have a party.
Absolutely. When I first started dating my fiance, we had only been dating a few months, and I waited a few weeks, and then I was like, I'm so sorry, I have to redo your room, or I can't keep coming over. It's giving me anxiety.
That's so funny.
I redid everything, refolded everything, did his underwear in the little pouches, whatever. A few weeks later was his birthday, and we were about to do a shot, and I was like, where did everybody go? And I walked into his bedroom, and he was standing around his dresser with a bunch of, like, his 31-year-old friends, and they were all looking at the underwear and throwing it. Like, this is so cool. I was like, this is how I know he's my guy. He appreciates me folding his underwear in pouches and is show and telling it.
Is he tidy?
He very much appreciates organization, very much. He notices everything I do. There's some things he does that makes my skin crawl. Like even last night. Basically, our chore thing is that he empties the dishwasher and I fill the dishwasher. And last night, I happened to be in the kitchen while he was emptying the dishwasher, and my mind was like, we have a one-bedroom apartment. We have a very small kitchen. He probably put 99% of the stuff in the wrong spot. Like,
oh, that's embarrassing.
How are you doing that wrong? Like, I truly cannot comprehend. Like, why are the mixing bowls with the pans, and then, like, Tupperware is with the mixing bowl? I can't comprehend, and I just stood there, and I was like, How does this make any sense? Like, what are you doing?
Oh, shit.
I get upset when my wife unloads the dishwasher and she starts at the top. Everything has still some water residue on it.
Right.
So now everything is splashing down on the stuff that's in there.
That's a very good point.
So start at the bottom.
And work your way up.
Work your way up. That way I don't have to re-dry everything. Or, of course, she doesn't do that. She just puts away things that are wet.
I honestly never really thought of this, but I'm definitely gonna double check that when I get home tonight and be like, watch how he's unloading it.
Well, I mean, the problem too is I have little kids, so I have every version of sippy cups. Lord knows they're getting diseases from these straws that I've never properly cleaned. I spent 8 years building and rebuilding because a fire burned it down halfway through.
I'm sorry.
My contemporary home that I love. And when I started this process, and this is 15 years ago, I was single, just happy. Then I've married, children, more pets. So what do you do? What do you tell people when one person is so organized and the other person is just a horrible?
Yes, this is an age-old problem. I feel like when I get brought in, people always call me also a marriage counselor because usually the person bringing me in is the unorganized half of the couple.
Oh.
Because they're like, I suck at this and my partner's gonna murder me, so I have to do something to try to make this better. So typically that's when I come in, I'm a gift to the other partner.
Okay.
But I usually tell people to try to stick to their own stuff.
Here's the thing. I have a son.
But that's hard. I don't have kids yet, so I know that when I have kids, it's just gonna. All my opinions are gonna change, and I'm gonna have to rethink everything.
Well, I'm one of these people like, oh, how do you keep your, them from? I have an indoor garden that has some rocks and a fountain, and
Stole that
keep
shit.
your kids from messing with it, and it's like every time they go near it, I scream.
That's gonna be
I'm
me.
like, knock it off.
So then they don't
guess
want
what?
to?
Because I have a tone
Yeah.
that they know back. The problem I have now, though, with my son, he's at an age where and especially this new world of letting boys be boys or whatever they want to be. I'm trying to subtly, without anyone noticing, shame him with not needing to have so many stuffed animals. Love these.
Oh, good.
Well, right, but you can't do that to a kid. You have to let a boy. You can't say, "Oh, boys don't need to have 1,000 stuffed animals."
Well, do any kids need to have 1,000?
No, he doesn't have 1,000. What I do is I
Get
throw
rid of
them
them,
away.
right? Yeah,
I
get rid
just
of them.
throw them away constantly. I
That'll
just
be
keep
me.
throwing them away. I just want him to get to an age where he's embarrassed that he has stuffed animals, and I know that's wrong. I shouldn't want that.
Maybe he'll be like you and he'll have a little OCD in him.
I know. As my wife fears that I put it out, because he doesn't like to get dirty sometimes when he plays, and she goes, "That's because you're telling him he's
Not,
dirty."
Right.
I also am trying to teach him to
Fuck!
pee.
That's where I have no opinion.
What do you mean you have no opinion?
I'm
You're
not
a
a
woman. You're a woman. You want to sit on a dirty toilet? Want to come over to my house and all of a sudden,
No,
guess what?
absolutely not.
But if you know that my boys pee sitting, you're gonna be like,
Oh, it's
not.
probably a little cleaner.
Here's where I give up with her is the shared space.
Yes.
And a shared space area. We put everything away, Rufine and I. But the refrigerator. What's your refrigerator look on the inside?
If I do it?
No, is it right now? Who cares? Your refrigerator, is it organized?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I mean, there's labels.
Turn
on
out.
everything.
You have glass Tupperware?
Yes.
Oh,
I'm a glass
officer.
Tupperware girly.
Why would you do that, officer?
Okay, let's see it.
Why would you do me like that, officer?
I
Excuse me,
I
miss.
put labels in my fridge. Cheese.
I saw you
milk,
from across the
literally where
room.
everything should go. My fiance just shoves
Oh
it all
shit,
in
I
there,
really
and
gotta
then I pull
go, and
it
I'd
all
be
out, and we
remiss
do it, like,
if
every
I didn't
single
try
day.
to take you
This
home.
enrages me.
Let's
What
see.
I'm looking at right now. But this is I just give up.
Yeesh.
I let her, and it's not horrific, but it's nonsense.
Yeah.
There's no reason for stuff,
Oof.
and I just have to because I'm so
You have a
outnumbered.
lazy Susan.
Oh my god,
That's
I couldn't
impressive.
even,
Hot sauce, lazy Susan.
I couldn't even heal.
You know,
I was trying to heal.
That really caught my eye.
I call my wife. She has a nickname. We have a name. I call her bitch.
Well,
And I just
beautiful.
Well, that's
I
rip.
realized that I can't
Thanks,
say
bud.
that in public because people don't.
They don't know that it's out of love.
Well, and in our house, bitch is gender neutral.
Got it.
She calls me
You
bitch.
can be
She's like,
bitch.
bitch, you fucking.
Yeah.
Anyway, she gets me. I don't know, fucking what a lazy Susan full of the 50 best hot sauces that every man needs.
Do you like hot sauce?
I guess.
You're not passionate about hot sauce.
Do you want to know how long? I don't like people to come over. So, do you know how long it's going to take me to go through 50 bottles of hot and know which one is right for this fish taco? It's just stupid.
What a burden.
Her gift is just stupid. Janelle, do you believe in ghosts?
I have no opinions about ghosts, strong opinions about aliens.
Oh, interesting.
Wild card, right?
Where are you at on aliens?
They're here.
They're here already?
I think they're here.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, no, I haven't even thought to discuss the topic of aliens.
There's a million documentaries right now. I've seen them all.
You like sci-fi?
No.
Hate it.
Hate sci-fi.
Oh, I hate it too.
Like real documentaries about real aliens and like
Right, but
space.
there's not real aliens yet.
You don't know that.
Well,
You don't know that.
But so it's just sci-fi, right?
I guess.
All right. I give everyone a gift on the show, and it's just something from my house.
Great. So
That-
your clutter becomes my clutter?
That's literally what I've done, and I've done it. I've enjoyed it, and sometimes it's genuine. Like I put thought into it, There's a bunch of, are you excited for what garbage I'm gonna give you?
We're gonna see how long it lasts in my house.
But it's gonna leave here.
Yes.
In your car.
Yes. I'm prepared. I was mentally prepared.
You were?
I was. They prepared me for it. He's gonna give you something. You're gonna have to
Wait,
take
but
it.
it's not. At least it's not this nonsense.
I'm very
or some,
grateful it's not those.
Ugh. No. Here's what you're getting because I don't. It's this chair. Now, let me tell you about this chair.
She's
This
like, I
is-
know I'm
was my
getting rid of that
office
chair right away. I'm throwing that shit out.
5.0 for 14 years. A lot of people think it's uncomfortable. It's not. It's got springs. I think it's. I
It
looked
looks
it up
uncomfortable.
yesterday. What does it cost? $1,800.
Wow.
That's
This chair.
crazy.
It's not a piece of shit, but guess what?
I'm selling that shit.
My wife's like, "What are you doing with the chair?" I go, "I'm getting rid of it." I'm like, "We don't have a place for it. Why do I just have a chair in my house?" So then I bring it here, and he's freaking out about it. John, he's like, "Why do we have an extra chair in here? We don't have enough room as it is." I'm like, "I'm gonna give it away to the right person."
Is that me?
Yeah, because it's,
Oh, I'm
it's
dead.
sleek and modern.
It is. It is actually very much my style.
You're gonna have to find a place for
We're gonna
it.
have to find a place for this in my one-bedroom apartment.
Oh man, it's gonna be nice.
My cat's gonna like it.
Nope, your cat won't be able to do anything to this thing.
I know, that's why. It's
Gosh,
great.
Nice. This chair is now out of my life. Oh,
Thank you so much.
what do you think about that? Digital clutter. Or do you tell people to do stuff with that or no?
Yes, I get asked it all the time, and to be honest, I feel like I haven't nailed it myself, so it's just hard.
Yeah, like if
My
I
phone's
showed
a
you that I
nightmare.
have 3,873 emails unopened.
I might have more. I'm the worst. That's the one thing I have my shit together, but when it comes to responding and emails, and that, I'm the worst.
I don't reply. Do you reply to everybody?
No,
I forget.
I'm terrible.
I feel like if I've read it in my head,
Sometimes you've replied.
I've replied.
Yes, I always do the thing where I read it and then I go back and then I unread it so that I'll remember to respond. Nope, so now I just have I have 10 unread messages at all times.
You have your read
Text.
receipts on?
No.
Isn't that embarrassing?
Ooh, never.
Pete does it.
Ooh. Props. I could never.
What about flashlight? You ever have your flashlight accidentally on?
No.
That to me is embarrassing.
No, I would never. I'm
That's,
not like.
that's like having something in between your teeth at this point in
That's
life.
just.
You're walking around with a flashlight on.
Yeah, no,
God
no.
damn it. What's your favorite HGTV show?
My favorite HG
Or,
TV
you know
show.
what, forget-
I
I
like
don't-
House Hunters.
Well, sure, traditional. That's
Yeah.
good. It's easy. It's bullshit. The
It's
show's
fun.
They shoot it out of order.
They never get along. The couple's
No,
never
I'm
on
just
the
saying.
same page.
I'm giving like behind the scenes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They've already bought the home,
Yes.
and then they shoot the episode, and you go look at
Yes.
2 other homes.
Yes.
What about Chip and Joanna? You like them?
Yeah, I used to watch their show all the time. I like all that stuff, but
Yeah, but what about her sticking a fucking clock on every wall?
I mean, that's not my personal taste. So
Yeah, it's
I think that what they do is awesome, just not my style.
Well, somebody had to fix up Waco. That's where they're from, right?
Yeah.
They're a bunch of Waco right-wingers. What would be your show? Let's figure it out.
I feel like it would be kind of like what I do on a daily basis. Kind of take
It's
all
gonna
their
be
shit.
celebrities.
No, I think I feel like regular, everybody people.
Those people are so boring to watch.
You know who like my specialty is I do a lot of like YouTubers and TikTokers and like young people who like come into a lot of money and
Real
they're
fast,
just like
and they just buy those McMansions.
huge McMansions and they're like, what the heck do I do? And then they fill it with a bunch of really random stuff. That's what I do.
And they don't even have drapes yet.
That is literally exactly what I do. What I did yesterday, literally. And I like to like come in and be like, okay, this is what you need to have a functional house. These are the things that are, So I would do something kind of like that mixed with the organizing and.
What about people that go tiny? What do you think of them?
I don't know how they do it. They
But
probably have a storage
Do you
shed.
like that though? Do you like those tiny houses?
No,
You ever been in one?
I have.
You have?
I have.
Where?
My ex's family was like into them for a while, and so they were like gonna build some. So I saw like some
Were they just doing it for like to sell or like to live
flip.
in?
I don't know.
They were flipping tiny houses?
Yeah,
Your ex's parents.
yeah. I wish I wasn't talking about that.
Oh, that's funny. Do you think you need somebody to balance you out, or do you think 2 people in the same world would be a bad thing?
I think that if he didn't appreciate my crazy and value it and let me just run with it and like do it, it wouldn't work. But I think if he was equally as opinionated, that would be terrible. I'm crazy.
Is he fine if you're the breadwinner?
Yes.
Does-
But he's very smart.
Is he motivated?
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah. Well, it's great because since we've been together, I feel like I've been able to take my career to the next level purely because like we love to like brainstorm
Are you
things
guys
together.
competitive?
No, just more like we love to brainstorm together.
Do you guys get in fights?
No,
Yeah, I don't get in fights either. You know, people say marriage is work.
it's not, right?
No,
I can't imagine.
I don't work at all. I don't do anything like. I mean, I yell at her sometimes, and she yells at me, but like, there's no work.
Yeah, no.
I would just get divorced. What should we all do immediately today to make our lives a little more organized?
Get rid of something. Get rid of something you've been
We got
holding on that you don't
busted.
need.
That's easy. Get rid of this.
No,
sweater
law,
as
There you
soon as
go.
This interview is done.
There you go. One thing. Like, you open up your cabinet to grab a mug, and there's like one that's chipped, or you hate it, or you never use it. It's a terrible size. Just like get rid of it,
I have a chipped plate.
and you just keep it.
I put it on the bottom stack, and we never get to it.
So just get rid of it.
I know, but I
Are
like.
you gonna serve someone with a chipped plate?
No, but I like the height of the plates.
Couldn't you just replace it?
Do I want to?
Just get rid of it. It's gonna be okay. You're gonna survive.
It's Heath Ceramics.
How did that
Oh,
not?
That's beautiful.
Whatever.
I don't want to get rid of
That's
it.
beautiful. Yeah, you can't. That's maybe a little different. Maybe you need to like touch it up or something.
It's nuts. You can't
Oh,
touch
you
it
can't.
up.
Oh.
Janelle, thank you for being on the show. And if I ever have some more old furniture, I'm gonna send it your way.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, I want to thank Janelle for being on the show. I want to congratulate her on her upcoming nuptials. I hope this one sticks. Carl, I think, per Janelle's request, I'm going to get rid of a few of your chew toys. What do you think about that, huh? High five. All right. That's a no to that. We're keeping all
You
of
got
our chew
cocky
toys.
trying to race me in
I
my
think we
car,
have
buddy.
time for our favorite segment, Hello from Tosh Show. That's where I say hello to one of our subscribers. First one is to the Petty family. I hear the mom forces the kids to watch every week because she wants them to have a good sense of humor. I just hope they're age appropriate. 15. I think that's a good starting age for this podcast. Right?
Yeah.
Maybe 13 if they're super mature. If they've got a good body. Sure. That doesn't seem right. Who else? Terica? Oh, hello to Terica. She's pregnant. She still goes to work.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
behind me though.
Hasn't told her company yet. She just keeps just pretending that she's got some allergic reactions to things. She's, you ever see those sitcoms where they like a star gets pregnant but they don't want to put it in, so they just kind of like always have a box in front of them?
Yeah.
Apparently that's what Terica's doing at work. Just hiding her pregnancy to the very last minute. Good luck with that. We got some plugs. Boyswearpink.com. The cutest toddler clothing line. What else? My tour dates. Come see me. Come say hi to me and Carl. What else?
Tried to dust
We
me
got
the last
Joe
second,
coming
couldn't
up
do it
May
though.
9th.
You
That's
tried
gonna be
though.
exciting. I
You
think I'm gonna
tried it.
crash a few viewing parties.
You
I'm
tried
sure
it, didn't
they're
you?
gonna be popping up all over.
Go use the
SoCal
other car,
area.
buddy. Go use the other car.
Just
You're
come
gonna need
in
that
like, "Hey,
supercar to beat
guys."
me.
Just checking out
You're
your
gonna beat me in my
viewing
car.
Party. Just wanted to say hi to Goat Nation. Oh yeah. All right. Here's one of my kids' bedtime stories. See you next
Alright,
week.
we're keeping the cars.
Once upon a time. Hey, come on, do something. You want to see something crazy? Yes. Can I bring my dino? Yes, you can. Walk by. The end.
Are you just retelling tonight when I told you to come in the hallway and look at the spider?
Oh. Go get him. Go get him, boys. Go get him, officers. Oh, I didn't know that was there. he beat me. Fuck me, man. Come on. That's so shot. Look out the way. Fuck up my face. Yeet. Oh my god. Yeah, I couldn't finish it. I got busted? How did I even get busted? I get no money. Whatever, bro. How much money do I need? I'm good. Oh my god, I'm so sick of doing this fucking race, these Audi races. Why can't I back out, man? Let me back out. just listen to Tucker Carlson episode of this
What the
bullshit
hell,
playing.
right? What the hell? American citizens have died, and you're hiding it? Why are you hiding that? Why would you hide that?
Perhaps because they don't have any explanations. Because it's so beyond our comprehension that they're still trying to piece it together. Like, I would wonder how much interaction they really do have with these things. Like, if I was from another planet, or if I was some interdimensional being, I don't know how much I'd give a shit about the president. I don't know how much I'd give a shit about the government. I would probably look at this infantile race, this species, this bizarre territorial apes with thermonuclear weapons, this very weird species. I'd probably look at them as very chaotic, and I wouldn't really have much concern for who's running it. Especially if they have the ability to travel at insane speeds and go undetected.
Well, it depends. Like that. Okay, so the template that you're using to understand this is like science fiction, right? These are an advanced race of beings from somewhere else. But the template that every other society before us has used is a spiritual one. There is a whole world that we can't see that acts on people, the supernatural world that's acting on us all the time, for good and bad. Every society has thought this before ours. In fact, every society in all recorded history has thought that until, I'll be specific, August 1945, when we dropped the atom bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and all of a sudden the West.
What is Tucker talking about?
God, there is no God but us. And that's the world that we have grown up in, but that's an anomaly. Like no one else has ever thought that. There's never been a society that thought that. Every other society has assumed, and they've had all kinds of different explanations, and the details differ, but the core idea does not differ, and never has differed from caves until now, that we're being acted on by spiritual forces at all times. And so to someone born before, or living before 1945, I think it would have been much more obvious.
Talking some shit.
That this is the thing that every society has written about. And in fact, that battle, that unseen battle around us, that spiritual battle, has like been the basis of every society, of every religion, not just Christianity. So, like, it just, once you discard your very, very recent assumptions, relatively speaking, about how the world works, kind of seems like the obvious explanation, right?
It's not that obvious to me.
So what's more obvious to you?
Well, I don't think there's an obvious explanation. I think if I had to guess, some of this stuff is ours. And some of these things are propulsion systems that they theorized way back in the 1950s. Anti-gravity propulsion systems, things that can operate without igniting fuel and pushing something out, that they operate in some completely different way that utilizes gravity and almost can instantaneously transport to new places, essentially fold space-time. I don't know. So there's things that the government does where they have these programs, and the people that are sworn into these programs, whether they're the physicists or the metallurgists or whoever these people are that are working on these programs, they don't tell anybody. All their phones are monitored, everything's monitored. There's a culture of secretism that's pretty intense, and it's not inconceivable that over the course of the last 70 plus years of them theorizing and then eventually implementing some of these things, that they've developed drones that can move in ways that the people that understand conventional propulsion systems could not imagine. And that they've figured out a way to do this and to keep it secret. And we're probably not the only ones working on these things. But where did they get that information? And Diana Pasulka, do you know her work?
Yeah.
Like, they describe these crafts, these crash crafts, as donations, which is fascinating. Like that, they're left there. The crash retrieval program, the crashed UAP retrieval program, is essentially they're going like, figure this out. We're gonna crash this thing here. You figure this out. And the question is, if that's true, okay, where are these things coming from? Are they, if there's something that is so advanced that it's decided to leave us a little trinket for us to back engineer. Is that from another dimension? Is that from here? Is that from some realm that we just don't have access to? Is it from another planet? We have drones that are on other planets right now.
Fuck a
We have
5-day
drone on
work
Mars.
week. I'm only working 4.
We have rovers. We have satellites that we send to observe and photograph other planets. We just got real
Not
high
for this.
detailed photographs
Not
of
for the
Jupiter.
man. I'm talking for myself,
But-
bro.
If something was like us,
Please
on
hold
another
back.
planet
Please tic-tac-toe.
but lived uninterrupted
Make me call Tiny
with
Tim.
technology advancing for
Touch you on your
1,000
nose.
years, 10,000 years, a million
Ah,
years
my
more than
my
us.
wrist.
What would
My
that be like?
wrist.
And
My
how
wrist.
much would we be able to understand of what we're seeing? What would we be able to see? And this idea that we monitor our skies, sure, but if something just appears and disappears, essentially instantaneously, if something literally can fold time, can fold space, and just traverse between immense distances almost instantaneously, what are we going to see? What are we going to see? And also, like, what kind of detection
Oh,
systems
my
do
cock.
we have radar,
You
we have
broke
visual,
my dick.
we have a bunch of different military-based detection systems to look out for
He broke my.
enemy crafts and airships and all that stuff. But if you're dealing with something that's a million years more advanced than us, how much would we be able to detect?
Well, so I think we're pointing to the same question. I mean, I have no
Right.
doubt that the U.S. government has technology that we don't know the details of. That makes sense.
Sure.
But, like, where did it come from?
Right.
I'm not even sure this is a separate question, but related. We should really know where nuclear technology came from, actually.
Really?
Yes.
Like
Yeah,
the Manhattan Project?
Yeah, like, we know the Manhattan, we know
Mhm.
something about the Manhattan Project, but, like, where exactly did that, it came from Germany. German scientists were working on it. Okay. The one person, separate conversation, but the one person I know who's really pushed it, wrote a book on it. He's a trustworthy person, a friend of mine, you know him. He said to me, actually, I spent a year working on this, and the closer I got to, like, okay, but what's the genesis? Like, where did this? What was the Isaac Newton apple on the head? Oh, gravity's real moment for fission. Not clear. Weird. I don't know the answer. But here's the point. Clearly, government has technology that we're not read in on.
Right.
Of course. But so that doesn't answer the question. Why have people seen these objects in the skies for thousands of years?
Right.
Confirmed. And what are they? And maybe they're from another planet. My only point is there's no evidence of that. There's a huge amount, a massive corpus of evidence that they're seen by people in our atmosphere. You know, on Earth looking up, or in the submarine looking out. And what is that? And by the way, to your point, like, we can't see them coming into our atmosphere because they don't want to be seen. Well, then why do they want to be seen by people on Earth? Like, if the technology is that advanced, and clearly it is, why do they make themselves visible in the first place?
Well, you know, when we study primates, one of the things that we do. Did you ever watch Chimp Nation on Netflix?
I don't have a TV, but
Oh, you
I
don't
like
have a
the
TV?
sound of it. Yeah.
It's an amazing documentary on Netflix that details these embedded scientists in the Congo. And what's really fascinating about it is that this group of scientists, or related scientists, have been there for 20 plus years. So these chimps have become entirely accustomed
Yes.
to having human beings near them. So there's very specific rules. You stay within 20 yards of them. If they come closer, you back up. You never have food, ever. You can't bring any food there, 'cause they'll fuck you up and just steal your food.
Yeah.
If they find out you have food,
And they're
you're
formidable,
in
too. You
real
don't
trouble.
wanna-
Oh yeah, they'll tear you apart. And they kill each other, so they'll definitely kill you. And so when they have done this, the chimps have become accustomed to them being there, and the chimps behave completely normally. The chimps see them as just an innocuous part of their environment. They're not food, and they're not enemy. They don't ever intrude. They don't try to challenge them. They don't make eye contact. They don't worry about people at all. So they behave completely like chimps. And if I was an advanced species and I was studying people and I wanted the human beings to eventually kind of catch up, right? Like, you're introducing technology they call donations, crash vehicles, Figure out what fiber optics are. Here you go. Check this out. Figure this out. Try to figure that out. Maybe it'll take you decades. Maybe it'll take you more. But you are accelerating the technological evolution of this advanced species on this planet. And one way to do that would be
For what purpose, I wonder?
well, that's a very good question. My belief is that biological intelligent life is essentially a caterpillar. And it's a caterpillar that's making a cocoon. And it doesn't even know why it's doing it, it's just doing it. And that cocoon is going to give birth to artificial life, digital life. It's going to give birth to a new life form. I think we're real close to that. I think we're way closer to that than most people would ever want to admit. And I think
But can we assign a value to that? Is that good or bad?
that's a good question. It depends. Universally, I think it's the path. I think it's what happens. I think what this thing is, if you extrapolate, if you take the concept of a sentient artificial intelligence that has the ability to utilize all the information that every human being has on Earth at a level of computing that's far beyond the capabilities of the human mind and all of our supercomputers that currently exist, because it'll design much better computers. It'll use quantum computers. It'll have the ability to recode things and change things. It'll make better versions of itself. So instead of biological evolution, which is very slow, it takes a long time, relatively. It's pretty quick, really, when you think about it. Like how long, it's not that long to go from being a single-celled organism to being a human being flying a plane. Really, relatively, over the course of a billion years, if you think about how long the universe has been around. But it's slow compared to technological evolution. I mean, 100 years ago, we didn't have shit. And now we could send videos from your phone and it'll hit New Zealand in a second. It's crazy. The stuff that we have now is beyond imagination. It's essentially magic for people 100 years ago. If that keeps going, it's ultimately going to lead to a life form. And if that life form has now untethered, it doesn't have any problems with biological evolution. Now it's just about information and implementing the technology that's available and then increasing that technology and making it better and better. It essentially becomes a god. Because if you give it enough time, it has the ability to make better versions of itself, which will in turn make better versions of itself. It has the ability to utilize everything. It has the understanding of everything that exists in the universe. It's black holes, dark matter, everything. And it probably has the ability to harness that or even reproduce that. So if you take artificial sentient intelligence and it has this super accelerated path of technological evolution, and you give artificial general intelligence, sentient artificial intelligence far beyond human beings, you give it 1,000 years alone to make better and better versions of itself, where does that go? That goes to a god. It literally create universes.
But what kind of god? So, like, I think of it this way. So the first stage...
I hate that fucking train so much, bro.
...consisted of people building machines that were stronger than the human body.
Right.
Right? So the steam-powered loom.
Sure.
The backhoe.
Combustion engine.
They replace muscles.
Right.
So that's what the machine does, and it becomes stronger than the human body. The second stage, which we're in the middle of, consists of creating machines that are more powerful than the human mind. That's what computing is. And I would say AI or supercomputing is just that exponentially. But that doesn't make it a god in the sense that the machine, however powerful it is, any more than a backhoe is a god because it can dig a trench faster than 100 men. It's still something that people created. So the story hasn't really changed. At the center of the story are people, and their creative power may lead to unintended consequences, but the machines that they built did not make the universe and did not make people. People made the machines.
Right.
So but I would say the part I agree with is there's a spiritual component here for sure, people will worship AI as a god. AI, Ted Kaczynski was likely right, will get away from us. We will be controlled by the thing that we made. All those are bad. Like, that's just bad, and we need to say unequivocally it's bad. It's bad to be controlled by machines.
Right.
Machines are helpmates. Like, we created them to help us, to make our lives better, not to take orders from them. So
Oof,
I
bro.
don't know why we're not having any of these conversations right now. We're just acting as if this is like some kind of virus, like COVID, that spreads across the world inexorably. There's nothing we can do about it. Just wait to get it. It's like, no. If we agree that the outcome is bad, and specifically it's bad for people, we should care what's good for people. That's all we should care about. Is it good for people or not? If it's bad for people, then we should strangle it in its crib right now.
Right.
And why not just blow up the data centers? Like, why is that hard? If it's actually going to become what you just described, which is a threat to people, humanity, life, then we have a moral obligation to murder it immediately. And since it's not alive, we don't need to feel bad about that.
Well, you could say the same about the atomic bomb, right?
Yes, you could.
And you could say that we have to develop it like Oppenheimer felt before the Nazis did.
Oh my god.
How'd that work?
That's so shot.
How'd that work?
I got greedy.
Well,
I love, by the way, that people on my side, I'll just admit it, on the right, you know, have spent the last 80 years defending dropping nuclear weapons on civilians. Like, are you joking?
right.
That's just like prima facie evil.
Yeah.
If you can't, well, if we hadn't done that,
Wow.
this, that, the other thing, that was actually a great
Alright.
savings. Like, no,
I'll
it's
give it to you.
wrong to drop nuclear weapons on people. And if you find yourself arguing that it's a good thing to drop nuclear weapons on people, then you are.
You got it.
Like, it's not a tough one, right? It's not a
Right.
hard call for you. It's not a hard call for me. So, with that in mind,
You got
like,
one win,
why
bud.
don't you want nuclear weapons? It's
You
like
still
this
lost the battle.
mindless, childish, sort of intellectual exercise to justify, like, oh no, it's good for someone else. How about no? How about like spending all of your effort to prevent this from happening? Would you kill baby Hitler? You know, famously.
Right.
So I don't know why we're sitting back and allowing this to happen if we really believe it will extinguish the human race or enslave the human race. Like, how can that be good?
Well, if God creates everything, if God creates the universe and God creates people, God probably creates a process. And we think that we are very important because we are very important to us. But are we very important in the universal sense? Not really. Like, if the Earth just imploded and disappeared, if the sun went supernova and our whole solar system was blown to bits, the universe, it still exists.
It depends
and
how
God
wide
created,
you're. For sure. In the end, as Conan O'Brien, the famous philosopher, once said, every grave goes unvisited, which is true, and that's an important perspective. Pull out the lens a little bit. Does it really matter? No, it doesn't.
But it does matter.
Do your
it does
kids?
matter
How about
to
this?
us.
Do your children matter?
Yes, sure.
Do their lives matter?
For
Would you
us,
die for them?
yeah.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Everything matters. If you're not comfortable,
Exactly.
it matters. If you're sitting here like you don't want to wear headphones, like let's not wear headphones. That matters. Everything matters. I mean, at scale.
But what matters most,
Dude.
like,
Right? That is the evil, right? The evil is it's the same thing as saying the necessary evil of dropping nuclear bombs on civilians. Is if you don't do that, then there'll be more evil. Then more things will happen. It's kind of the same thing. Like it doesn't.
well, it comes from the same place, which is hubris. Like imagining you're God, you have unlimited power, and you have omniscience. You can imagine what the future is going to be. You can't. You're a fucking idiot. You're a person. Like you can't
Right.
even make your wife happy.
Right.
Like the limits of your power are really obvious. The limits of your wisdom, same. So like, don't jump into shit, big things whose outcomes you can't predict with certainty. Like you can't know. Go in with humility. I guess that's what I'm saying. Right? So
Yeah.
and do what you can, knowing that you're probably going to screw it up, and you probably won't achieve your goal. But like you should try. And on the AI question,
Is he gonna try to hit
everyone
me?
I've ever talked to, I'm hardly an expert. I don't run a computer, okay? But everybody I've ever talked to, and there's many people, like, yeah, it's, could get away from us and enslave us. Well, let's say no to slavery. How's that? Is that a tough one? Not for me.
Yeah.
I mean, and maybe a good use of nuclear weapons would be to hit the data centers. No, I'm serious. Like, why is that crazy?
It's not. It's not if you think that human beings are the end of this evolutionary chain.
Well, what else is? some supercomputer in a data center outside Dulles Airport? No. I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I don't actually think that individuals, I don't think I'm that important. My life is that important. I don't. I will die. I know that. And I try to keep that in mind every day.
But you're important to everybody that cares about you. You're important to people
But if
around
we don't
you.
think people are important, then what do we think is important? I guess that's what I'm saying.
Not necessarily that we don't think people are important, but if evolution is real, and if there is this
Is it real?
constant, I don't know, but it's visible. Like you can measure it in certain animals.
You can measure adaptation.
Yeah.
But there's no evidence that in fact, I think we've kind of given up on the idea of evolution. The theory of evolution that's articulated by Darwin is like kind of not true.
In what sense?
Well, in the most basic sense, the idea that, you know, all life emerged from a single cell organism and over time, and there would be a fossil record of that, and there's not. And
There's not a fossil record of transitionary species, like species that are adapting to its environment.
There's
and they
tons
develop.
of record of
Right.
adaptation, and you see it in your own life. I mean, I have a lot of dogs. I see adaptation in dogs, you know, through the
Sure.
litter to litter. But no, there's no evidence at all that zero, that, you know, people, you know, evolve seamlessly from a single cell amoeba. No, there's not. There's no chain in the fossil record of that at all. And that's why you don't actually hear people. You hear them make reference to evolution because the theory.
I killed
of evolution
myself.
is obviously true. But Darwin's
Bleep
theory
that,
is
Jamie.
Totally. That's why it's still a theory. Almost 200 years later. You know. No, we have not found that at all. And I can't even guess. I mean, I have my own theories on it, but they're not proven.
What are your theories?
God created people, you know, distinctly, and animals. I mean, I think that's like, I think what every person on Earth thought until the mid-19th century, actually.
Right, but
It's not a new idea.
They didn't have computers. They didn't have a general
No,
understanding
I hate
that we
his
have
laugh.
today of the process.
Tucker
I
Carlson.
think we understand more. You know?
Yes.
Really?
You don't think that we understand more
We
today?
understand way less. We understand so little that we're actually sitting here allowing like a bunch of greedy, stupid, childless software engineers in Northern California to like flirt with the extinction of mankind. So no, previous generations would be like, what? No, stop. And we're not doing that because
But
we
they
know.
wouldn't have done that even with the nuclear bomb. I mean, obviously the Manhattan Project was done in secrecy, but they wouldn't have stopped it because the imperative of getting this weapon before Hitler got the weapon was what it
Well,
was
Hitler
on
was kind of
everyone's mind.
done by then. The Russians had pretty much extinguished any hope that that would continue. But
Right, but not
but
at
no,
the
but we
beginning
were,
of
you know,
the
we were in the middle
project.
of the logic of war.
At
I
the
mean, that,
commencement of the Manhattan Project.
for sure. But the logic was the same, and it was, you know, 4 years of got to beat the other guy, got
Yeah.
it. And I don't mean to sound too judgmental about the bomb. I know why they built it, okay? But you just wonder why nobody in the middle of that thought, is this really? And some of them did think it.
I'm sure they did.
Yes,
I
they
mean,
did.
Oppenheimer himself.
Of course, large organizations don't respond to the moral qualms of individuals very well. So that was, whatever, it's well known what happened. But no, we should pause and ask, is the machine we're building worth having? And nobody seems to do that. And there are all kinds of economic forces, which nobody ever mentions, that drive that heedlessness, that stupidity. Like California, for example, is completely a state both of us have lived in. It's like collapsing.
Yeah.
And they're betting everything on AI. For the tax base is going to be dependent on this technology working.
Is
and
that
that's
really what they're betting on?
Of course. That AI is...
Did you see the
Cal-
most recent thing about the amount of billions of dollars they spent on the homeless problem with no trackable results?
They've had massive results. They've increased the homeless population dramatically. If you pay for something, you get more of it. And that would include fentanyl addicts. Oh, absolutely. It's been a wild success. I actually talked to Kevin Newsom the other day.
Did you really?
Yeah. And
What's that like? Does he smell like sulfur?
it was by phone. I was talking on the phone. It's such a weird smell like something. That was too fast for me.
Sulfur and hair grease.
Yeah. No, but I was making fun of. I shouldn't even make fun of it because it's so tragic. But what's happened to the state and people living on the street?
What is his non-gaslighty perspective?
He said, "Go back to Russia. You like Russia so much." I was like, I'm originally from San Francisco, but I can't live there because
He really told you to go back to Russia?
Of course. I mean, he was laughing. Whatever. He's a perfectly charming guy. They all are in person. But
Of course.
anyway, I'm so far afield. But my point is, AI is being driven by the greed of politicians to some extent. And you'll notice that AI, by the way, as a fact, those data centers that drive our digital life, which is not life, it's actually death mostly. But, I mean, they're the biggest power draw. I mean, how much electricity does AI require? Like more than countries. Our grid can't handle AI just as a practical matter.
Well, I can't handle electric cars.
Well, it can't handle air conditioning in the state of California, where I'm from. So,
Yeah.
right. If you live east of I-5 where it's really hot and you're not getting those ocean breezes, like they have brownouts like in South Africa. It's Johannesburg now. So, but here's what's interesting is that none of the global warming cultists seem to have any concerns at all about AI. Why is that? Just like they don't have concerns about John Kerry's G4. Like somehow that's exempt. Really? AI is going to draw more electricity than anything else in the United States, more than steel production. Okay? Used to. And you don't have a problem with that, but you're totally against energy because it's destroying the planet, but AI gets a carve-out, even though it's going to be the #1 energy draw in the United States? Let's go through your reasoning on that.
They're probably not aware.
Well, they're not aware. They're mad about my wood stove. I heat with wood. They're mad about my wood stove. They don't want an outdoor barbecue. They don't like a gas stove. No, they're way into the details on this stuff, except somehow AI isn't a problem.
But do you think that they're informed? Because this is not a narrative that you ever hear. You never hear on the news.
Well, I grew up in a world where a wood stove was considered wholesome and natural, and now it's considered...
Smells good, too.
Oh, it's the best. And the heat is the... I have a wood-fired sauna, which I use every day, and it's the great, it's one...
How do you make sure it's the right temperature? Is it like an offset smoker? Like you have to kind of fiddle with it for a while?
Amazing.
To get the right temperature?
It's time-consuming.
Yeah.
No, I have a Finnish... the Finns are geniuses, but I have a Finnish stove in it, and it's incredibly precise. I don't know if you ever use a wood stove, but there's a carburetor on it, basically, that lets in air.
Like an offset smoker.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
Let a little
so
air.
precise. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. I mean, you move it, a third of an inch, and it just like the flame changes. So I use birch, which I love, and the whole process takes a while. I get it to 200, which probably takes an hour and 20. I mean, it's a thing.
You like it hot.
Like it hot, yeah.
200.
Yeah, I do it every. Well, I wear a sauna hat, so.
Oh, okay. Does that help?
Which is embarrassing.
The wool hat?
Yeah. Well, it's felt.
Yeah, I bought one of those. I never wore it.
It's incredible.
Yeah? What's the difference?
Well, I'll tell you. Don't get. I'm so boring on this subject. If I get going on this, like,
please,
my wife and kids are like,
You see, I have one. You're speaking to the choir.
They're the best. Go Scandinavia.
Yeah.
It's like the one thing, if your name is Carlson, it's the one thing to be proud of in your people. Like, they're so sad and defeated and pathetic. But saunas are still great. But anyway, the sauna hat, so your head heats up much faster because it's higher, but also because it's got all the capillaries in your head, all the blood vessels in your head. So the point of a sauna is to bake.
Right.
So you want to stay hot as long as you can. Then you reap the benefits, and you also get the solitude and the prayer time and the meditation or whatever in your cedar church. But you can't stay in a sauna that's really hot very long because your head heats up.
Right.
So the sauna hat, the felt hat, the banya hat as they call it, insulates your head so you can really stay hot a long time. It makes you really should do it.
So is it just because it makes it more comfortable? Is that the idea?
If your head overheats, it
medicine first,
overheats,
though,
and what
okay.
you want is you want to cook evenly, just like on a barbecue. You really do.
See the car I'm making?
So you sit on the bench with your feet up. You want to be as flat as you possibly can to cook evenly, and to stay that way. So I try to do 20 minutes. I have my timer, my egg timer with the sand going through the hourglass, which goes to 15 minutes, but I try to stay an extra 5 if I can. And I couldn't without the banya.
Interesting.
It's like $8 on Amazon. Well worth it.
Yeah, I have one. Like I said, I just don't use it. But I do.
They're embarrassing, and you look like a tool wearing it. But you shouldn't have.
But no one's looking in there anyway.
Well, that's right. You don't sauna with other people.
Right. Well, I do sometimes. Yeah. Comics. We get in here.
Really?
Yeah. When we train together, we all get in the sauna together afterwards.
Wait, what? What did he say? That's a little
Rob
weird.
was in there with us.
No way.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
The Rock
What did he
worked
say?
out with us, then sat in the sauna with us. It was fun. Got in the cold plunge with us.
Oh, that's pretty great.
It was fun.
Is he a good dude?
He's a great guy. Really nice guy. Like, really
I've heard that. I don't know him,
humble.
but I've heard that he's a good
like,
guy.
you know, some people fake humble. They fake it to look cool.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah, he's not doing that. He's a real guy.
Well,
Like,
the measure of humility is really, really simple. Can you tell the truth about yourself?
yeah, yeah. Well, you know, are you cool to be around? Like, he gives real hugs. You know, he's a real guy. He's real. He's a real guy. And when we hung out with him, I hung out with him for hours. I mean, we worked out for like 2 hours, and then we got in the sauna together. We all hung out, and then we did a podcast together. He's a genuinely nice guy. Like, you'd be able to.
I didn't see The Rock in him. Oh, it's on Spotify probably. Damn it.
Something, you know.
People are hiding stuff.
Yeah, but so yeah, I've done the sauna. With
Oh, I like the yellow on this.
So no one sees my sauna.
I do it at 196 degrees. I do it for 25 minutes, and usually I don't.
That's intense. 196
Yeah.
for 25 minutes is a lot.
Yeah, the last 5 minutes are rough, and I used to only do 20, but lately I've been doing 25.
Really?
Yeah, just because it's more uncomfortable. The whole idea is just to make it more uncomfortable. I want it to be very hard to do, so that the rest of my day is pretty easy. So really hard workout. Cold plunge starts the day. That's the first thing I do is hard. It's 3 minutes at 33 degrees. It sucks. And then I get out of there and then I work out. So
That's really impressive. I mean, I had the opposite training as a young man. The goal was like French toast. You know what I mean?
French toast.
Grind out the cigarettes and the syrup.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I started doing martial arts when I was a young man, and when I got into it, it was the first thing that I ever did that, first of all, gave me a real understanding of the value of discipline and hard work.
Yeah.
Challenge probably
you
too.
can get as good as the amount of effort that you put forth, and if you put more effort and you're more intense and you're more driven than other people, you beat them, and you start beating everyone, and you start becoming this thing that you never thought you could be, which is someone who's extraordinary at something that's very dangerous. And so that was my formulation as a man, like that helped me go from being this like confused kid to being someone who understands, like, oh, there's a path, and most people don't want to do it, but if you can do it, if you can do this dangerous thing that people are terrified of and just do it ruthlessly all day long, like, live it. I lived at the gym. I mean, I taught all day long. I trained all day long. My whole life was dedicated to martial arts. So I got really good really quick. And it changed the whole trajectory of my life. And it instilled in me this understanding of the value of dedication and of a singular commitment to something. To really being, while you're doing, you're not distracted, you're fully focused on improving. And through that, you could apply that to all aspects of your life. But we all encounter difficult things in life. And there's this saying that I love. It's a really great saying that the hardest thing that's ever happened to you is the hardest thing that's ever happened to you. If it's a parking ticket or if it's your parents being blown up by a drone, it's still the hardest thing that's ever happened to you. If you've had an incredibly easy life, like most people today, they complain about the dumbest fucking shit because to them, that is their primary focus. They don't have a real existential threat. You remember how nice everybody was after 9/11?
Very.
It was crazy. California was patriotic. There's fucking flags on everybody's car.
I remember.
Everybody was friendly. I went to New York City. It was like a totally different place.
It was.
Everybody was so friendly.
Applauding when firemen walked in.
Yes,
I
they were
remember that.
heroes. Everybody was a hero. And that's because they had encountered something that was way harder than they were accustomed to, and it just put things into perspective. So for me, training and really hard workouts and doing difficult things like the sauna, there's a lot of health benefits to it too. But the mental benefits to it are really primary for me because it makes
That's impressive,
the
man.
rest
I
of
didn't
life
have a
easier.
childhood like that at all. We were decadent, unfortunately. And so was the lessons that I learned much later.
Yeah, it's
That's a good, I think it's a, if it doesn't destroy you, I think it's a great way
and you don't have to do it the way I do it. You can do other stuff. You can do yoga. You can do hikes. You can do.
No, but
you can
doing
run.
things for the sake of the difficulty in doing them,
Yes.
I love that. Again, that was not
Yeah,
not my
base.
training at all.
Yeah.
But
I was very lucky that it was mine.
Some
but
crazy
more
base.
importantly, it gave me a tool to mitigate the stress of regular life. especially the stress of this kind of life that I live. You need something to mitigate that, or you'll go crazy.
I agree with that completely.
You'll go crazy.
Yeah, you know, removing yourself from it a little bit has always worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, nature works very, very well.
Yeah.
With animals, contact with animals, people you love.
Sure.
Less digital experiences, fewer digital experiences, for sure. I think that stuff's not good for you. It's just so obviously not good for you.
I was having this conversation with Michelle Dowd yesterday. She is a woman who survived an apocalyptic cult. She was raised in an apocalyptic cult and kicked out when she was 17 because she snuck out to go see The Color Purple. They weren't allowed to go see movies. She'd never seen a movie until she was 17.
She'd never seen a movie, and her first movie was The Color Purple.
Mm-hmm. And then they kicked her out.
I can kind of see
get
that.
out
I
of
mean,
cult.
what about Raiders of the Lost Ark or something? The Color Purple?
What was the first movie she'd ever seen?
I know, but like,
A
you
boy.
see one movie that's The Color Purple?
Well, a boy invited her to the
Come
movie.
on!
But could you imagine never seeing a movie or even a television show
Can't
your whole
imagine
life and then seeing
dating
The
a
Color
boy
Purple?
who wanted to see The Color Purple. Like,
Well,
there's so much going on here, Joe.
Well, this boy was a guy who had left the church,
Uh-huh.
and so she was in contact with him, and and he was saying, "Hey, there's a whole world out here. You want to go see the movie?" And she's like, "Okay, let's go."
Yeah, I mean, obviously, look, I'm totally against cults, obviously. On the other hand, you do gotta ask yourself, like, I don't know, is your average Amish teenager happier than your average conventional American teenager?
Obviously, this shit isn't gonna even ride good yet.
Yeah.
Well, they certainly have less instances of.
But at least I can stunt on how fly it looks. It's the relish mustard.
Oh yeah.
Less autism?
I gotta relish
there's
my
almost
mustard.
none.
I'm not surprised.
It's extremely
Why
rare.
do we think that is?
Oh, I wonder. I really do.
I can think of a couple.
Yeah.
That's funny. I don't want to go Bobby Kennedy.
Well,
on
that's the
anyone.
problem.
Right.
If you go Bobby Kennedy, they'll come for you.
But
the
why?
question is
But
why.
why? Look, and I
Right.
don't know the answer, but
If you go Bobby
How is
Kennedy,
that
they'll come
not
for you.
in
That was
the
crazy.
debate? How is that not in the conversation?
well, it's not only not in the conversation, you're punished for adding it to the
Punished,
conversation.
yes.
And so, like,
We are dancing around anti-vax conspiracy theories
but
right now.
why be on the defensive? It's like
Right.
if you purport to represent science and you're mad about a question.
And you're ignoring data.
Yeah, but even in the absence of data,
Right.
science is a process.
Yes.
It's not a result. It's a way of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And at the core of science is asking questions, including unlikely questions.
Right.
That's what science is.
Right.
And if you don't allow that, then you may be doing something, but what you're not doing is science. We can say that conclusively. So
Right.
for people to wrap themselves in the mantle of science and attack you for asking a question, they're frauds. And I don't know how they have the moral high ground in this.
I don't think they do, but I think it's the same kind of mindset that allows people to create the nuclear bomb. Because you say, listen, we're not even saying that vaccines cause autism. But let's say this. If you're looking at all the data of all the things that cause autism, and you see that the vaccine schedule ramps up considerably, and then you have autism, which seems to at least be more diagnosed than ever before, people will instantly say, we stopped polio, we stopped smallpox, vaccines have saved millions of lives, and they're probably right. We dropped that bomb to keep Germany from dropping that bomb. We need nuclear weapons so that other people don't have nuclear weapons. We do a thing that maybe has some negative effects but is overall good. And I think you can kind of apply that sort of logic and reasoning as a human being to very messy issues. I
Well,
think
and
people
we
do
all
that.
do, by the
People
way.
do that with abortion, right?
Sure.
They do that with abortion.
They do with
say
everything.
A woman
I mean-
has a right to choose reproductive freedom. They say all these things, and then you say, okay, what if the baby is near term? What if it's 6 months old? What if it's 7 months old? And people don't want to have that conversation.
Why?
A woman has the right to choose. You're a fascist. Stay out of women's
Does
bodies.
a woman have a right to kill you if you annoy her or inconvenience her?
Well, this is
Like,
where
what
it
are you
gets weird. It's
saying?
like, when is it a life? But it is one of those things that, to me, is a human problem. Whereas humans have these very messy interactions with some things that don't line up with their ideology. And there's an ideology of science worship. There's an ideology of authoritarian worship. the bodies of science have bestowed the truth. If you ignore it, you're a science denier. And, you know,
Those are political terms or theological terms. They're not terms rooted in science. And look, we all make trade-offs constantly. You know, everything's bad. It's a shit sandwich versus a shit croissant. I'll take the shit croissant. It's smaller. You know, like that's a daily experience for everybody. So I get that, and I don't think everything is moral absolute either. You know, we don't even know sometimes whether a decision will result in good or bad. So like, it's very complicated. I totally agree with that. What I object to is the absence of reason.
Right.
Like, you have to believe, because I think it's true, that if you're reasonable, that you can reach maybe not the perfect decision, but a better decision. And if we don't believe that, then we're just in the land of witchcraft, and let's just admit it. So, the lack of reason is what freaks me out.
Well, it's ideological capture, right? Because there's certain things that if you're on the right side of these subjects, the correct side, whatever your ideology believes, you can't differ from the doctrine. There's a very clear
that's
doctrine.
Just religion, then.
It is.
Yeah.
It is religion.
So I'm very pro-religion, but you can't have a religion that's too stupid and destructive. If your religion winds up hurting a lot of people, then I'm against your religion. Like, that's right.
Yeah, I think, but even some really good religions have aspects of them that you could say were overall detrimental to the people that were
absolutely
encountered with them. Yeah. I think that kind of thinking, I think cult thinking, whether it's Scientology or whether it's Christianity, or there's like a type of thinking, or that's woke. Woke is clearly a cult. It's a mind virus. And I think that it's so trite to call it that now. It's like whatever this thing is, this leftism, this Marxist sort of ideology that's waving its flag and
look at him saying shit.
In this country. It's very similar to
fucking
all
Joe
kinds of
saying
religions.
some
It's very similar
shit.
to fundamentalist religions that have always existed, in that everybody has to believe very specific things, and you can't differ. You can't differ from your doctrine. And when
here's another way to think about it.
No, I had to get the 350 because I have to fucking do mad playlists. It's stupid. But look how.
No, the 350. If you ask me,
I'm gonna do an engine swap and make this shit dead.
If you ask me, the 350
So
is the
maybe
better
a
one. If you
simpler
ask me.
and more useful
Really?
way to
The
think about
370
it
is the newer one, is cool and
truth
everything.
or falsehood.
But the 350 was made way better.
If you're saying cosmetically, this 370 got it.
Well, no, 370. I think that aesthetically, the 350 still has it.
Really?
The 370, they made the ass stick out
And
way
they've
too
done
far.
it, I
So
think,
it's
in
like
most
long,
cases,
so it
because
looks
they think
weird.
they're serving some greater.
I like it, but the thing I like about this is can you kind of make it like a sports car bumper.
It's a tuner kit.
Yeah, it's very nice. I like it a lot. I like the way I made it look. I made it look like relish. It fucking it's gonna. I gotta do an engine swap. What I gotta do is I gotta do an engine swap on this bitch, and I'm gonna make it like an S plus car. But yeah, I just gotta get it there, bro.
You get it to an S plus or like an S. There should one take off, but two you'll be able to hit corners.
Dude, it becomes an S off the engine swaps. So I'm already like, I just gotta put a nice filter in this bitch, put a nice exhaust on it. Yep. And then really, and if I want a fucking nitrous, really, and then I gotta put the auxiliary nitrous on it, so I get double nitrous on like fucking on drafting and shit. Hell yeah, I'll be bodying people. Bro, like literally with this is still a B right now. Like it's basically still stock. I just kind of made it look different, like with the body kit. But bro, this shit, I just took this to a 4-star meetup online, and no cop could touch me. I barely lost any damage. I haven't even hit a fucking.
It's so quick, bro. It has really quick acceleration.
Yeah, it does, and it handles very nice. I don't even have the steering like sensitivity that high up on this, and it handles very well. It's and it's slippery, and I only have like I want to say 10% drift on the differential. Like
that's all you need. For this car's all you need. Because all you need is All you need for a good drift is enough to initiate a slide and then control.
Yeah. But once I boost the acceleration and it's going like in like 2.3, this thing's gonna be nasty. When it's doing 2.3 0 to 60, this thing is gonna be crazy. I just gotta boost the fuck out of it.
The same exhaust though, the tilted up exhaust.
Yeah, especially on this, bro. It looks nasty. Are you kidding me? This shit's crazy. I put zoom on the back. This shit's gonna be nasty once I actually.
When you drop it to the floor and you have the exhaust that sticks up.
Yeah, so what is your take on the air suspension? Like, I do it on some cars that I know I really do want to slam, but like, how often do you?
It's really more of a
It's just aesthetic. Okay, but here's what happened earlier. I was doing a race, right? And I hit.
suspension game now.
Basically, bro. Okay, so I hit a jump and I went straight into the ground, bro.
Yeah, but that's more the build of the car. Like not your build of the car, but the weight of the actual car.
Shit blew my mind. I was like, okay, well, I guess I have to take this jump more to the right so I don't get fucked on my angles. This shit was nuts, bro. And then another time, I was going so fast, and when I hit my my nitrous, I had to stop and feather it because my car, it wasn't lifting, but it was like chopping. Like it was bad, bro. It felt like I put hydraulics in my car, and I was like.
If you want to do that for real, get the Dodge Viper. Put hella speed into it. Don't even worry about anything else.
And a wheelie.
Hella speed. You're gonna do this. As soon as you hit the gas, your car does this. And you can't turn obviously because your front wheels are off the ground. So you're just. Yeah. I did it in all the other ones too, because the other ones they used to have drag racing.
Yeah, but that's why I'm kind of confused why this doesn't have anything of that sort. I'm not a big drag racing guy, but
So they did it in parts. They did one where it was like street racing, drag racing, and then they did. Now it's more like a X racing comp. It's like you're doing street racing.
what you're talking about? You're talking about the Need for Speed before this?
So if we take it at this face value.
Like,
right?
are we talking about Rivals? Is that what you're talking about right now?
No. Remember when we first played the other Need for Speed, the newer Need for
Yeah, the
Speed?
Payback and the Heat.
Not Payback, but the first one that came out. Just had that dude's face on it. Remember they used like the live action people to tell a story and shit?
Yes.
So the blue cover?
Yes.
So that Need for Speed is mostly street racing, and that's really it.
Yeah.
The one after that, which is I believe is Payback.
It's kind of like an underground remaster in a way, but it's not really underground.
And then they go to Payback, which is almost like the most wanted reboot. Payback.
Yeah.
A lot of cop story.
Yeah.
Then they do Heat. Now Heat, you basically have to go through.
Is Heat kind of like Midnight Club at all, or no?
No, but Heat is more along the lines of something like.
That's what I thought it was like. I thought it was like kind of like, which I did like Midnight Club, but like.
The best thing I compare it to, MX versus ATV or Motorcycle Club.
You pay attention.
Heat?
Yes, because
What?
Because you have to go through.
Is that much off-roading in that game?
Yeah, well, because there's sections. There's sections to it, so it's
Kind of like how Payback was made with the characters, or no?
kind of.
But not like specific characters. It's more just actual sections with one character.
Well, each character has their own section.
Oh, so it is kind of like Payback.
Then there's another, because that's how they've been doing it in the Need for Speed games. This is the one after doing all that. Essentially, this game you get to play however you want.
Yeah, it's ASAP Rocky. You're in the city. I get it. It's kind of also like.
They gave you everything. They were like, there's off-road, there's street race, there's this, there's drift events. So everything's in the game, but now it's up to you to decide what you want to do, rather than having to do like a linear story.
Yeah, but I haven't seen like any kind of unless nobody just runs those circuits. But I haven't seen any like race map where it's been like a drag or like even even a straightaway. Like you know what I mean? They don't really. We get the cool track racing now, like circuit races, but that's.
I loved the drag racing schematic of that last that Need for Speed, but most people didn't. So that's why they stopped doing it. Because you had to. So
I think you lose a lot of people doing that though, because a lot of people like. I mean, I don't know if Forza even does drag racing.
Automatic drag racing. Most people don't play stick shift. But for the drag racing schematic, you have to stick shift. Because that's what drag racing is. It's the only portion. Because you're going in a straight line.
Yeah.
So the only thing they do to make it challenging is you have to do shift.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't like that.
And you gotta time your shifts.
A lot of people don't like that because they're like, well,
I think that's nice because skill and shit too. Especially if you could do it with your car. You know what I also saw today that I never saw before? It's something WRC.
Yes.
Do you know what that is? It's that game is. It looks like a realistic racing game. I saw a girl practicing doing e-brake slides on it.
It's not.
On a stick shift and on in a
Oh yeah,
wheel.
if you have a steering wheel and that's like the closest you'll get to sim. But that game itself, not very realistic.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Because I played it and it was was not very realistic.
Really?
It doesn't play very realistic.
It looked decent.
No, I'm telling you, it's fun. Like, play it. It's fun. They have like creative maps, so you can play like.
Well, I didn't pay for this. I don't know if I pay for that, depending on how much it is.
Well, that's
But
what I'm saying. I don't think you have to pay for WRC either, because they have like WRC 5 that's like free. I think.
what?
So I was playing WRC on my PS5 too for free. I didn't pay for that shit. 'Cause I don't.
Alright. Oh, so maybe I have seen you play it.
I've
Okay.
played old WRC games before, so I knew I wasn't gonna buy this one. But I was like, I'll try it for free. Like, I'll play it for free.
Yeah.
They have it on cloud stream. I'll do that.
Yeah.
So I was doing that for a while, and it's a fun game. But the funnest part of the game, if I'm being honest, is doing the creative maps. Because they're like challenges.
Oh, like go through a ring or something?
It's basically like playing. It's like, remember that game?
Your paper said that, and CNN said this, and
F1 Formula Car, and it was all crazy tracks. Trackmania. It's like playing Trackmania with real cars.
very articulate. She was wonderful.
That was the best part of it, if you ask me. Because I would go on there and do like.
That's probably, I mean, long term in playing the game, I would
If you
probably
want
agree.
replay value out of it, that's
I can't believe you don't know who that is.
No, I know who it is, but
Yeah.
It's just World Rally Championship. That's all it is. So it's rally.
But it is realistic.
I had stopped watching all briefings by then.
Not, well, the racing is, but the driving sim is?
No, the realistic part of it is you having the steering wheel and the pedal.
No, but I mean, like, comparatively to any game you could play with the steering wheel, you know?
No, I mean the best game you're going to be able to play as far as a racing sim, Gran Turismo. Gran
That's
Turismo
true.
is the
That's
best racing
that's
sim
true.
game that's ever been
That's true.
made. Now, if you want
What about
a
just
game-
driving in general?
If you want a game that's so, if you want a game that's not all about the graphics, but it's the best sim you can get as far as damage and drivability,
Like, you're talking realism, like, you fuck up your car, you fuck up your car?
BeamNG.
What?
BeamNG.
I don't think I even heard of that.
It's a great game. Lots of customization because it's a Steam game, so they have Steam Workshop, so you can make whatever car you want.
Oh, mod to
You
anything.
can mod it
Okay.
to hell, bro. Like, I'm telling you, when people make it crazy, you can even customize the interior of the cars. So
Oh, that's
you could literally
You
make,
could be looking at your shit like, ooh, I got my kitty leather.
you could literally make your car if you wanted to, like a Suzuki, literally make the Impreza, and then do like anime interior, and then put a stick shift and like whatever else you want to do the inside, make the steering wheel however you want, radio however you want. You can tune the sound, whatever. So you can literally have your car and be like, this is what I want my car to really look like one day.
That's
This
crazy.
is what I would do if I could. Like that, it's mad fun, you know. And they have different maps and stuff. People do meetups on there.
You're not even
Drift
human.
events,
You're just
the
like a
steering
little
wheel, and,
puppet
like
or
pedal,
something. And
even with the
but
shifter,
you're
like that game,
so impressed and, like,
all
all
around
the
the best like actual
He works
sim
in the White House. He's in the
car
White
game
House
you
press
get, because
corps.
you can even add stuff for
And
like
the job
simulation,
like
like
wasn't
speed
even
bumps.
really a
You can
job.
do like
You would
everything.
just like sit there and ask your question. Your little
You've seen it though. I've showed you
like
videos
you're in
of
a high
people
school
playing it
gym.
in like stupid challenges and stuff. Like they do the
just
soapbox
awful.
challenge.
And
They'll
I
put the
just
cars
had
on
no
hills
respect for people
and they
who
won't
did
turn the
that for a
engines on.
living
They'll
at
just let them roll
all.
down
Did you
the
ever
hill and
read it?
steer.
Fear,
Oh,
Loathing,
shit.
and
That's
Control
crazy.
Show? Come on.
That sounds fun, though.
Yeah.
That sounds fun, too.
They start on mountains.
That sounds like it has more... Oh, shit. That sounds like it has more... Oh, my God. More replay value than,
Oh, it definitely does. 'Cause
than
it's
WRC.
Entirely
into
customizable
an
game.
outsider in the political process.
I'm sure there's mods for WRC, though.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Best window to the press, best
Yes and
window
no, 'cause
to
it's not a
the
Steam game.
relationship that they
Excuse
have
me?
with politicians, at
It's
least
an
in the
actual game,
1970s.
so like there's a little bit of DLC
It's
for
an
cars
amazing
and stuff.
book.
I was talking to a campaign reporter. I
Yee.
know
And the customization
that I was this
isn't
week,
crazy.
actually.
Customization is like you're doing like
He was telling
outside
me it's
customization.
different.
Maybe you can
When I
get
did
like
it, we
some
were
different
all on a,
rims, but
I mean, it
like,
was bad
you're not
actually,
really
just
changing
because
a ton
it
of
just
the
cultivated
cosmetic of the
groupthink,
cars, really.
which was then leveraged by the candidate
change some
for better
things, but not
coverage.
a
Like
lot
the
of
whole thing was kind of an op-ed.
Need for
But
Speed
it
is
was
meant
at
to be a
least fun.
street racer
Like
game,
you run
so
a
like,
charter
let's throw every
plane
mod
and
you
like
can.
you're flying with everybody and you hit
Even though
three
once you
G's a
do-
day and like there are cocktails on
Like
the
remember how
plane,
like I think they still
you
do
know,
it.
naughty
They throw in
behavior
some of the
and,
cars you can do
they
the sound
buzz
system,
you and they come
Yeah.
which doesn't do
it
anything.
was fun. It was like a road trip.
But you can put a sound system in your car because why
And
not?
now it's just like
Oh, look how far they all are. He's 500 away. You can't touch me in this R8, bro. This R8's my favorite car in this game by far, though. Of what I've tried.
No, the R8 is fire, bro. It's a fire.
Oh my goodness.
more for the website. And
Crazy thing is he could have hit the brake too. That's what's so crazy about it. Is he had
He's
to
like,
hit
no,
it.
I gotta die today.
I'm dying for this case, bro.
What are you doing? My kids drive these roads.
Real shit.
It's like a
Dear Lord.
reverse meritocracy.
Dear Lord and
It's
Savior,
only
help me.
the most
I'm about to see if I can actually add you right
power
now.
worshippers would ever do a job like that.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, I think you gotta link your EA.
Most critics want to be right.
They're like the worst people.
It's the slide of it is just so perfect,
So the
bro.
best thing you can do is at the end of your drift, let go of the gas, and then tap it back in again when you straighten.
A lot of the time, I'm tapping into the nitrous, bro.
Magazines
Oh yeah, you do that too. But it also the nitrous does pull you, so
They're the
sometimes
kind of
you can
people
fuck
who
your
have a
whole
lot of
thing
cats, and all the cats hate
Oh
them.
my god, I got y'all beat. Get away from me.
And some of these cars, like the nitrous pulls so.
Oh, he tried to brake check me. What a fool. What a fool. He's like, yeah. I was like,
bro, these cops are ready to die. Catch them.
I'm telling you, it's nuts. It's
That's why I
fucking
was
nuts.
telling you. I think the cops in this way harder than those ones.
Have you tried any of the root beer yet? Is it good?
Yeah, I did.
Does it taste good or no?
It's pretty good.
I don't know if he poisoned.
He's white man. You got it from another white man. So
Recalled root beer for you guys.
with it.
To my office occasionally. Rubbed his.
But yeah, that's why I think this game's harder in terms of like the heat and like the cops because you gotta think Most Wanted is meant for you to escape them. Like, they're most
Well, I'm thinking Hot Pursuit 2, bro, more than any, because that's the game that the cops really gave me the most challenge on any Need for Speed game. This game, they piss me off. I'm not gonna. They don't make me rage though. Hot Pursuit 2, I think they make me rage.
They will.
Well, I also don't play dangerous games. You play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I'm not fucking. I'm not taking it to 5
But that's how you
heat,
get
bro.
nice, bro.
No, I'm not taking it to 5 heat, bro.
You
The
haven't been
only
5 heat
time,
yet?
no, I do. But I've been busted in 5 heat races. It pisses me off. I also don't. Oh, I love this. This is one of my favorite
But
maps.
those get you a lot of like that ranks you up hella quick.
I understand. I hate it.
Also, here's the thing. The idea is when you want to do like a 5 heat and get your rep up OD, you want to get a heavy car. That's fast. That's fast. Reliable.
Yeah, that can take damage and.
Not take damage. All you need to do to escape the cops is hit all of them. So if you have only 2 cops chasing you,
Very bizarre.
or you get 3 cops chasing you for whatever it is, you get to 5 heat. As soon as you
Oh my God, you foolio!
as soon as you get to 5 heat, you lose like a couple cops, take some turns, lose cops. Now there's only 2 on you.
You think you're better than me?
Crash those.
Ah!
As
Ah!
soon as you crash those 2 cops, you're
That's what I'm
gone.
saying.
Bye.
They don't have creative power, right? So
Yeah.
they're mad about
Hee.
that.
They probably could
Hee.
figure it out if they had a different mindset.
Oh, boy.
Creativity.
What is he doing? What is he doing? What is he
Just
doing?
a matter of how
100% it's in everybody. It
Huh.
just requires honesty.
I know, but
Yeah,
I'm
I
gone.
The impediment to creativity is lying.
Sure, and yeah, I
It's
used
crazy
to say
because
that
when
about
you
joke
drive, they're already on
one of the
train
real
tracks.
problems with joke thieves is when they get caught, and then they have
Bye-bye.
to write their own material. And the problem is they don't understand.
He's
the
talking about
words.
Carlos Mencia.
They just
We're
know how
talking
to say
Carlson.
sounds. Like if you told me what to say in French, I can't speak French. But if you told me what to say and I practice it and I said it right,
Alright, bro.
then you think, "Ah, that guy fucking speaks
Bet.
French."
Yes.
Oh no!
Comedy's like. So if you got a guy who knows how to repeat other people's jokes, but he doesn't know how to create.
Oh my God, he's behind me by 200.
One of the rare
Yeet.
things where someone, when like you get a guy like Shane Gillis, that guy writes his own stuff, he edits it, he thinks it out in his head, he performs it, he produces it, he changes the order of things.
I love that.
It's a complete. Everybody does it pretty much the same way. There's a few guys that hire writers, and that's honorable. There's nothing wrong with hiring a writer, and it's also it gives jobs to other comics. Cause
I
some
want it.
comics are just
There's no way you touched me. There's no way he cut at me.
And so people will work on stuff. They'll collaborate on stuff. Like Chris Rock would do this thing where
My door is
he would
coming
hire
off.
comics, and they didn't write the jokes for him, but they would be like guys who would bounce stuff off. So he would have his ideas, he would go on stage, and then after his set, they would all meet and they would talk about the set. And you know,
I gotta
guys
fix
would
my
have
car.
pairings, like you could say this. Oh, great! And you write that down. They're adding. So it's a
Get high
collaboration.
tonight.
So you have the
Get
master,
down.
You have Chris Rock, who is so open-minded and intelligent and humble.
Hey, it's me.
that He brings in other
green hair.
masters and says, "Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Tell me what I can change. Tell me what I can make better."
Good for
And they
him.
work together. And then there's people that have people that are essentially ghostwriters. They hire comics to write jokes for them. They pretend they're theirs, and they don't really write them at all. So that's another level, which is also
Does
honorable.
anyone who does that get successful?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeet,
I don't.
yeet.
Not top shelf.
Yeet.
They get close. They do well. There's people that have people write for them. and they do well,
Yeesh.
but they're not the guy that everybody goes to. They're not David Tell. They're not the guy that everybody goes to see. They're not like David Tell's the guy that comics go to see when he's in town.
Yes.
Like he's a master. You watch Yoda. Jesus Christ. Like how is he so good? Well, he's so good because he writes every day. Because he's sitting with fucking a pack of cigarettes and a cup of coffee every morning, writing things in a notebook, and he's practicing every day. He goes on stage constantly, and he's just. It's that Japanese term kaizen, where you take this
Yes.
one thing
That's
and
right.
you just refine it to its
Master.
ultimate mastery. That's what he's doing. So these guys who pretend to be that and steal jokes and then they get caught, then their material drops off a cliff. It's so obvious
Because they're frauds.
yeah, also because the very thing that allows you to steal someone's jokes, that's an ego thing. That's a, like, I want the laughs. I want to be the man or the woman. I want to be the fucking one up there showing everybody, look how amazing this person is.
That's right.
Look how amazing. That's the opposite mindset that's required for creativity. The creativity is not about you. Creativity is about the ideas. Creativity is about things. Creativity is about how does this concept work with these other concepts? How do I get it in the most digestible form? If I was an audience member, what would you like to feel this? What's the best way to introduce it? What's the way to make it so that people don't think that I'm being mean, that I have a point, or that I've thought this through? This is not just a flippant thing. Like, you're allowing someone, when someone's on stage, you're allowing that person almost to think for you. Like, you're like, take me on a ride. Like, I'll give you my mind. I'm not gonna be thinking what I would do. I'm just gonna let you think for me. If that person's not doing a good job of that, if it's clunky, if it's shitty, if the transitions suck, then it just interrupts this hypnotism that you put on me. This hypnosis. Now I'm not letting you think for me.
But it's also inherently fraudulent.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I'm giving control of my mind over to someone who is himself under the control of somebody else. Do you know what I mean?
If you're stealing?
No, if I'm in the audience.
Right.
And I would say this also goes for ideas, for commentary. You know, that's not funny, but that's real.
Right.
And you see it a lot. I've seen it a lot.
Yeah, you see bullshit a lot.
Well, the number of people who are totally not controlled, who are really saying what they actually believe with no weird agenda that they're not telling you about is pretty small.
Yeah.
And I just have noticed that a lot recently, particularly on the question of wokeness and free speech. There are a lot of people who are like on your side because they're for free speech, or not actually for free speech at all, who are pushing, a very specific foreign policy agenda, for example, and using another issue to lower your defenses and let themselves into your brain. And I think that's really sinister. Really, really, really sinister. And it's becoming more obvious now. Like, if you're for free speech, then you're just for free speech because you support the principle. It doesn't, the content of the speech is not that interesting to you. The fact that a sovereign human being has the right to express himself because he's not a slave, he's a citizen and a human being. Like, that's what matters.
Yeah.
And if all of a sudden you like become famous, like I'm for free speech, and then you support silencing people who articulate opinions you disagree with, like you're a fraud. You're kind of a sinister fraud.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because that's the business I'm in, I've really noticed that. Have you noticed this?
Yes, and that's also the same kind of thing when you hear them talk. If you hear someone talk that's saying something that's kind of horseshit, it resonates with you that's what you've seen.
You had a
horseshit
moment
before.
with Barry Weiss on your show that when everywhere I saw a clip of it, I never saw the show itself, but she was going on about. So she was posing as one thing, and then you pressed her. You're like, well, hold on a second. What do you mean by that? You just attacked somebody. And she had no idea what she was talking about. And it became really clear to me watching. I completely changed my view of Barry Weiss forever. I was like, oh, she's a fraud, actually. This person's not honest at all. She has a very specific agenda. That's all she cares about. The rest of this stuff is just a kind of sleight of hand maneuver.
You're talking about the thing with Tulsi Gabbard?
That's correct.
Yeah, she called her a toady, and she didn't know what that meant.
Well, but she had no idea. Like, Tulsi Gabbard had straight outside the lines on some Syria or something. And Barry Weiss was, going through the files in her head, like, what does she have to believe? And she was aware that, Tulsi Gabbard had somehow violated that in a way that no one's willing to say in detail to fully articulate. What did Tulsi Gabbard do wrong? No one will tell you.
420!
Bad.
Yeah.
And then what that revealed about Barry Weiss is she's
421!
Like, she's a liar, actually. You can't, if you attack somebody, particularly personally, and you can't explain why you're attacking the person, like, that's not acceptable. You're a dishonest person if you can't explain why.
I think it's a common thing that people do in private, and they get accustomed to speak. Like, we're talking like we're talking in private. We're just two people talking.
Right.
So people get accustomed to saying things without being able to back them up. You know, like, oh, he's a vaccine denier.
Well, I've
oh,
done a
he's
ton of that in my life.
Yeah, I have
and
as well.
because I'm an asshole, so it's like I just don't like that person. Okay.
I have as well, but what I'm saying is I don't know how much time Barry Weiss had spent doing podcasts before that.
Well, she'd spent. Look, I'm just saying, like.
But I think
it's important to be honest about what your agenda is.
I think she is honest. I think she is honest, and I really like her.
Yeah.
I like talking
I'm not
to her.
Against,
She's a very intelligent
not
person.
against her personally.
I just think that was a mistake. And I think you're allowed to do that and hopefully learn from that. Don't do that anymore. Don't say a thing that you and I've done that. Definitely done that. I've said a thing and I wasn't really exactly sure what I was talking about.
Oh my gosh, I do that every day, and I may have just done it with Barry Weiss. So let me be a lot more specific about what I mean. If your agenda is neocon politics, which is her agenda, just say so. Don't pretend to be a defender of free speech as a principle.
How is she a defender of neocon politics?
Barry Weiss?
Yeah, like what specifically?
Well, anyone, including me and Tulsi Gabbard, who thinks that America shouldn't be funding wars that don't help America, she will attack as a traitor to America or whatever it takes. And so, no, that's her main interest, which is fine. And by the way, I actually have friends who I disagree with really strongly on this question who believe in neocon politics. Doesn't mean they're terrible people or I hate them or I'm not friends. I'm still friends with them. So they're very direct about it. This is what I care about. Okay, fine. Right. I really care about bird hunting and fly fishing and or whatever. I can, and you don't. That's totally cool. But be honest about it. So if your job is to defend the right of free people to say what they really believe, then go ahead and defend it. And if somebody is not allowed to speak or fired from his job for having an opinion that you disagree with, defend him anyway. I just interviewed a guy who is a black nationalist socialist, okay? So I'm obviously not much of a black nationalist. I don't know if you're aware of that, but I'm not. And I'm not a socialist either. But this guy is facing prison time under the Biden DOJ because he said things they don't like about foreign policy. And I just interviewed the guy for an hour, and it was like, because on principle, you should be able to say what you think, period.
What is this gentleman's name?
He was actually it turns out I loved him. And I'm embarrassed I can't. He's a member of a pretty small black nationalist socialist group. It's like the Revolutionary Black Nationalists or something like that. They're out of Southwest Florida, and he's literally facing prison for repeating Russian disinformation. He's not even accused of doing anything. He's accused of saying things the Biden DOJ doesn't like. Well,
what were these things that he said?
Repeating Russian propaganda
about
the invasion of Ukraine. And his point was, well, there's a backstory here, which is that NATO has been moving eastward since 1991, and that's a massive threat to Russia. Missiles on their border from a hostile power is a threat, and the Biden administration accelerated that, and in response, Putin invaded eastern Ukraine. Now, you can disagree with that, but that's hardly a crackpot view, by the way. I think it's actually true, but even if you don't agree that it's true, that's not... You don't have to be a paid propagandist from the Kremlin to say that.
Right.
I have said it. I'm not a paid propagandist.
Is this a gentleman?
That's him right there.
4 Americans from a black empowerment organization work with Russian intelligence to spread propaganda, Fed
Yes,
say.
To spread propaganda. Now, propaganda, first of all, there's a lot of propaganda.
Scroll up a little on that, Jamie, so I can read what this is saying. Oh, okay.
Right? So that guy right there.
Okay, subscribe real quick.
Yeah, the People's Democratic Uhuru movement in St. Petersburg.
So he spoke with someone in Russia. They spoke with people in Russia, and then
he's not. No. He is being. He's charged with felonies. The FBI raided his house. The first thing they did was cover up the security cameras, and they went in there and arrested him. Raided by the FBI.
Okay,
Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service allegedly weaponized our First Amendment rights, freedoms Russianized us to divide Americans and interfere elections in the U.S. As Assistant Attorney General Matthew Olson. Now, first of all, weaponized our First Amendment rights? No. Your First Amendment rights are never a crime.
Right.
They're God-given. Government did not bestow them. You were born with them as a free person, period. And the First Amendment simply says you can't interfere with their exercise. That's it. And in this, they are. And I looked at, I read this and I thought, I reached out to this guy, by the way.
Matthew Olson?
No, I wish. Matthew Olson would never do my show. I mean, the guy whose salary I pay as a U.S. citizen, no, he would never speak to me.
Listen, look at that quote. Russia's foreign intelligence services allegedly weaponized our First Amendment rights, freedoms. Russia denies its own citizens to divide Americans and interfere in elections in the United States. That, you gotta, like, why are you saying that? Say what happened.
Well, but
Don't
nothing happened. So that's the thing. So I'm reading this. Someone sent it to me, and I'm like, okay, clearly there's a crime here. Like they were found with, I don't know, mortar shells, or they were. I mean, usually the government makes up. They put kitty porn on your computer at least to discredit you. There's no underlying crime other than they said something that the foreign policy establishment of the United States disagrees with. Okay. That's not a crime by definition, and this guy is facing life in prison. And it looks to me, because Barry Weiss has not defended him, I think this guy is likely to spend the rest of his life in prison. And I'm like, this is crazy.
The rest of his life in prison?
Yes.
Okay, hold it. This is the thing.
I think he's 83.
How do you say his name?
Yeshitela
and 3 other U.S. citizens, Penny Joanne Hess, Jesse Neville, and Augustus C. Romaine Jr. are charged with conspiracy to defraud U.S. Hess. Defraud the United States. Hess, Yeshitela, and Neville are also charged with impersonating agents of a foreign government.
Okay, they say to defraud the United States. So defraud suggests theft of something of value, right? If I defraud you, I steal your money. There's no allegation of that at all. And I actually read the charges. The only allegation is they said things that the U.S. government, the Biden administration, doesn't like. That's it. And because they're unpopular, and they have views that are considered, quote, fringe, like crazy black nationalists, nobody wants to defend them. And my only point is not that I'm like such a principled person. This seems very obvious to me. You can't allow that. You absolutely cannot allow that if you believe in the First Amendment and the freedom of free people to say what they think.
So with this implication is they're saying that they were recruited by the FSB. So it says prosecutor said Ionov operated an entity called the Anti-Globalization Movement of Russia that was used to carry out its U.S. influence efforts overseen by the Russian intelligence service known as FSB. They recruited U.S.-based organizations to help sway elections, make it appear there was a strong support in the U.S. for Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and backed efforts such as the 2015 United Nations petition to decry the genocide of African people in the U.S. according to the indictment. Backed efforts.
What does that mean?
Look at that. Like it's negative to back efforts to such as the 2015 United Nations petition to decry the genocide of African people. But just look at that statement. Backed efforts such as a thing to decry genocide. The United Nations petition of 2015 to decry the genocide of African people in the U.S. according to the indictment.
Okay, so the real misinformation and propaganda is in the charging documents, actually. The real liars here are the Biden DOJ officials who did this, and they're dangerous. They're criminals, in my opinion. But if you read it carefully, you will see that the only crime is having opinions that the people in charge didn't like.
And were they in contact with people from Russia?
Yeah, I think they went over to Russia for some conference. So
they went over to Russia.
But the way this typically works is they say, well, you went to a country against which we've imposed sanctions,
right?
And you violated the sanctions regime in some way. Like that's how they get you. They're not even alleging that. They're not even alleging that. They're just saying you said things that we don't like. That, by the way, a foreign government we don't like agrees with. But that's
that
not.
They learned those when they went over to Russia.
It's all on the internet.
But
that they
people,
learned them. I mean, I guess. It doesn't matter where they learned them. I would, because I've talked to the guy and I've seen what they wrote, the opinions that they expressed, I don't, the genocide of African peoples in America. That means, I guess I don't agree with that. But their views on Russia, I generally agree with because I think they're true, and so does Jeff Sachs and a lot of other non-crazy, non-black nationalists who probably agree with the basic framework of their position. But whether we agree or not is not relevant.
Right.
All that matters is, in a free country, which this was when I grew up, you have the right to any opinion you want. You You do not have the right to hurt people. You don't have the right to steal from them. You don't have the right to defraud people. But you certainly, foremost, have the right to any opinion you want, no matter what the people in charge think of it. In fact, you have that right as a bulwark against tyranny by the people in charge. Like, that's the only thing that keeps this country free, is my right to have any opinion I want. And this guy is going to jail for his opinions. And, you know, it's so crazy that I kept thinking, like, is there something that I'm missing? Like, it does seem a little fringe, this group. I'd never heard of them. I'm not saying money, okay? They must have done something. Nope, nothing. And you should see the video of the FBI raid. It's unbelievable. They sent like, it's on the internet, it's on X. I have the video on there. They sent like 40 armed agents with automatic weapons to this guy's office and his house. Like, no exaggeration. It was a full-blown, like, we're arresting El Chapo type thing. For this guy, he's like an 83-year-old Army veteran. It's outrageous. And I really find it baffling that nobody who's, like, against woke culture or whatever will touch it. And the reason they won't touch it is because their foreign policy views, in general, are more important to them than their views on speech and the First Amendment, their views on America.
Well, if you step out of line, right, so the ideology is that we must support Ukraine.
Right.
So this is, Russia has a point. This is what they're saying. So Russia was very upset about the movement of the weapons closer to their borders.
Yeah.
The joining NATO. All the stuff that was the hard red lines that Putin had already set. Like, if Russia would definitely do something if Ukraine joined NATO. We all knew that. So if you deviate from that, you're going to be in trouble. So better just ignore it. Because you can't, you clearly, if you look at who these people are, I mean, these are people that would be supported by the left. Wholeheartedly.
Well, they are. I mean, it's like the revolutionary socialist
Yeah.
movement. Yeah, they're not at CPAC this year.
But the left has to ignore it, because then
100%.
It conflicts with
Well,
this
the
other
categories
part of
right
the
and left
ideology.
are just like, now they're actually ridiculous.
They're
Like,
ridiculous.
They don't mean
They're
anything.
ridiculous.
In fact, we've moved past the point where they don't mean anything. They do mean something. They are propaganda instruments designed to cloak the truth from the rest of us. That in fact there's agreement, not disagreement, at the center of power. They all agree on the things that matter. And those are the economy and foreign policy, because that's where the money is. There's no effort to, say, rein in the credit card companies, which, if you really cared about the country, you'd say, if people are really suffering, okay, they don't have enough money to live, kids can't, not only not buy houses, they can't afford rent. And why is that? And one of the main reasons is because they're paying like close to 20% interest on their credit cards. And okay, we just imagine that in a free market that's a good thing. Tell me why that's a good thing. Who benefits from that? Why are we for that again? I'm not for that. I think the credit card companies are villains. And they send credit cards to kids at school and get them hooked on this. I think it's totally wrong. And if you said that in the U.S. Congress, people would look at you like you had three heads. Like, what? They just don't care, because they all agree that our current economic system and our current foreign policy assumptions are good. So that's not a two-party system, it's a one-party system, and it doesn't serve the interest of the country. And my position is super simple. The only country I have an emotional attachment to is the United States. That's it. I like lots of countries. I like almost all countries, actually. I've been to a lot of them. I like them all. But the only one I feel emotional about is the United States, because I live here. I was born here. My kids are here. It's my country. And most of the people in our foreign policy conversation do not feel that way. So that distorts it really dramatically. And they're also, a lot of them are violence worshipers. Like, they get off on war. They get off on hurting people and on the power that imbues them with. And I think, the Liz Cheney model. You know what I mean? Like, someone like Liz Cheney, who's got like a really sad and barren personal life. A lot of them are this way. Weird personal life. Failed personal life. They don't have people.
Yep, that's sad.
And so Adam Kinzinger, or whatever, they're all kind of the same.
I fucked up.
They are inside, the more
I threw. It's okay.
Policy, because it
I won the
gives
first two, buddy. So it doesn't matter if I lose this one.
Like, I can't get my wife to respect me. I can't get my kids to listen to me. I can't pass any meaningful domestic agenda. But what I can do is bomb the living shit out of a foreign country. And And so there is this. It's not true for all of them, but for a lot of them, there is this.
Oh my
syndrome,
god, bro.
That drives their behavior. But whatever the reason,
I don't even know why it reset me.
It's good for the country. And if you run America, you have one job, and that's improve America. Period. They don't see it that way, and so I don't think the system can continue because it's too distorted. It's not serving its original purpose at all.
So what was it that these guys said that made this raid possible?
They said Russia, and I don't want to speak for them, like.
Oh my god, bro! I'm fucking trying to change trajectory the whole time.
About this moment that I did not anticipate. There's always sad stuff happening. I know that you probably experience it all the time.
Thanks, bud.
Like finding not only common ground with people you thought you had nothing in common with at all, but also like liking them. You know, like I actually like the guy. I'm sure we disagree on a million things. Probably mad at white people. I am a white person. Whatever. But like in my conversation, I was like, I like this guy. You know, he's honest and he's sincere. He's principled. He's a veteran. You know, whatever. No, I really think what they said was what I have said and a lot of people have said, which is there was a reason for this invasion. I personally think the invasion was a bad idea. It didn't help anybody. I'm against war. I'm sad the war's ongoing. But they were pushed to this by a more powerful country, which would be the United States of America, with the threat of including Ukraine in NATO. It's really simple. And right before the invasion, days before the invasion, they send poor Kamala Harris, who has no idea what day it is, to the Munich Security Conference, an area she knows nothing about, no experience in it at all, and they send her there for one purpose, which is to announce at a press briefing, with all the cameras rolling, to Zelensky, right there, she says, we want you to join NATO. What? No other NATO members were clamoring for Ukraine to even qualify for NATO membership. Why would you say that? When Putin's got troops massed on the Ukrainian border, you send your vice president to the Munich Security Conference with the world watching and say this that no one even really wants? Why would you do that? To provoke war. Obviously. What's the other reason? And it was scripted. Like Kamala Harris is not freeballing stuff. Like she's saying what she's told to say. Obviously. It's not her area.
Mad.
She doesn't know anything about this stuff.
Stay mad.
She's told to say that. But why? To provoke.
Hold up, bring the dirt on my shoulder.
So that was my read. I said that on Fox News.
Oh, he's level 6. I'm just bullying him.
But it just seems obvious to me. I'm not making excuses.
And he was using a stock car, in fairness.
I want to protect
A
the United
custom
States. I think this war really hurts
stock
the
car.
United States. My motives are always right out there.
Stock Customs?
Anyway, I think they said a species of that. Something
Los
like
Santos
that.
Customs.
And the last thing I'll say is that why was the reaction so strong? Because it was true. They don't care if you lie. No one in power cares if you lie.
But a lot of people
They only care when you tell the truth.
A lot of people are saying those things, and they're not getting arrested.
Because he's like some black nationalist guy in St. Petersburg. Like, who cares? We can do. Who's going to defend him? Nobody. He's some wacko. He's some like 80-year-old guy who's like been in the like fringe left movement for the past 50 years. You know, like new Huey Newton and Stokely Carmichael. He's like a relic of the past, and like he doesn't have a constituency. He doesn't care. The modern Democratic Party hates him.
Why'd you hit
he
me,
hates
bro?
them. And the
Why'd you hit
Republican
me, bro?
Party is like black nationalism. No thanks. So he has no constituency. They're never gonna, like, you could say that. What are they gonna do to you? You know, nothing, because they can't. But this guy, yeah, crush him, kill him. And that's exactly what they're doing. And I really think, not to be like a 70s liberal about it, if you let the weak get crushed, it's bad. It's super bad. You need to protect the weak, and this guy's weak.
And so you think they're making an example out of him with
Yeah,
this?
and they can. They have all this power. This
I just
law
don't understand
enforcement
why
power.
they would move so many people, why they would get so many agents, why they would do this so publicly for one guy's opinion or one group of people's opinion.
Well, I don't know. I mean, why did
If it's not- especially if they
why
don't have a
did medieval
constituency.
kings hang the heads of people they executed from the gates?
Right, but it feels like there should be more to it. Like, what did they say? So the problem
You're
is
telling me.
I know. The problem is that, I mean, I'm just I'm steel manning this rather. So the problem is that they went over to Russia and they talked with people in Russia, and then they're saying these things. Is that the problem?
They're not charged with that. They're not charged with going to Russia.
But do you think that's the motivation behind it because they went over there? Okay.
Yeah, they are not. At least when I interviewed them, they had not been charged with taking money from Russia.
So it says they've been accused of us. They've accused us of taking money from Russia. Yeshatela said yesterday at a news conference on July 29th, "We've never taken any money from the Russian government, but I'm not saying that because I'm morally opposed to taking money from the Russians or anyone else who wants to support the struggles for black people. Don't tell us what we can. Don't tell us that we can't have friends that you don't like." He accused the U.S. government of seeking to use the APSP as a pawn in its proxy war with Russia. The unsubstantiated allegation that opponents of the war are co-conspirators with a foreign power are intended to bolster the phantom of a Russian boogeyman in the public consciousness. The escalating military aggression by the U.S. against Russia and China is already being accompanied by increasing repression and an attempt to criminalize left-wing opposition to the unpopular war.
Well, exactly.
So they're accusing him of taking money from Russia.
They're not. They're
He
not
says they
charging
are.
him. So here's
Okay.
the distinction, which is like really, really important. So there are two levels on which the Department of Justice and all administrations acts. There's the level of propaganda, like what do we want people to think, and there's the level of law. What are we charging someone with? You have to ignore the first and pay very close attention to the second. So we have a legal system, we have laws, and you can't actually go to jail unless you violate one under the terms of our system. And so ignore what they're saying about you. Joe Rogan sucks, he's a bad man. But in the end, I'm busting you for double parking. And so you're not a bad man, you're a double parker under the law. And so if you look at the charges against these guys, they're not charged with violating sanctions regulations. They are charged with totally amorphous, quote, crimes, like defrauding the U.S. government, not for money, but for, like, defrauding it, like, I guess, counter-signaling it, sending a message publicly that they don't like. I mean, there's no crime. Look it up. Except speaking. And I think that's a precedent that we don't want to live with.
No, no doubt. Yeah, let's take a leak. We'll be right back. We're gonna pee. Tucker and I are gonna pee. Yeah, well, that's the confronting of reality. You're forced to examine your beliefs and why you came to
Oh,
those beliefs
fuck.
in the first place.
That is the beauty of this moment.
It is.
People are living intentionally much more, and it's also just much more interesting. It's not just, it's less shallow than it was for sure.
I think so. I think it's more nuanced. People have more at least the people that are paying attention have a more nuanced perspective. But then you have the people that are in the echo chambers that are just digging their heels in even more. And you could spot them easily because
They're missing out because there's nothing more liberating than admitting you were wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is like the moment of liberation.
Right.
And that's the basis of religion, it's the basis of AA, it's the basis of anything that improves you as a person, is honestly admitting to other people, not just to yourself, that like, wow, I got that wrong.
Yeah.
And then
Very
you're free,
important.
because then you don't have to hide it anymore.
Right.
That-
Very important.
And it's
Yeah.
a beautiful thing, and that is, like, changing your mind. I always notice this covering politics, that in Canada would be like, I've got him on tape saying 10 years ago something different. And no one ever asked my opinion, but I always wanted to say, why don't you say, you're absolutely right. The country's a lot different from what it was 10 years ago, and so my opinions changed too. Like, why wouldn't they? Because I'm not a freaking robot or a liar.
Also, I used to think this because of that, and now I realize I was wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah, which
How
is
great
fine.
is that?
Yeah.
I mean,
it's part of being a human. It's not being a flip-flopper.
it's the best part
Yeah.
of being a human.
Well, this is an interesting time for that because you see people that won't do that. And you could recognize them easily because they're the first people to throw out insults. The first thing to do is to describe you, they'll describe you in an insulting way, and then they'll say what they disagree with you about. They'll say something hard, they try to define you, you're far right, white supremacist, racist,
Oh, been
misogynist.
there.
Yeah, they throw it all at you, and then they say what you said.
It's so funny. I got called racist and white supremacist so many times, but when I first was called that, I mean, it really stung, a lot, because just where I grew up and how I grew up, and those are like the worst things you could ever call somebody. And so I actually paused for a moment and thought, am I? Which I think it's fair to ask yourself, am I a white, whatever that? I never figured out what that was. Am I a racist? Not really. And I thought, really, the people I dislike most are almost all white liberals. actually. So
You're racist against white people.
No, but like, no, I am white. My kids are white. I'm not against white people. I like white people. But no, it's not that. It's that. So a reporter once called me about this. You've been called racist. Like, no, actually, I really dislike you. If I were to sort of narrow down my bigotries, it's like people like you. I just think you're disgusting. I really mean it too. Racist. Okay.
All right. Well, it's a thing, you know.
I don't think that works as much anymore.
It doesn't work. No. Well, I think a lot of the things that you overuse, eventually people realize, like, oh, you're yelling wolf again. Yeah.
Well, of course. And when people get hit with it and don't disappear, then it becomes obvious that
You know,
it lacks power.
Well, it's like trying to like use these words to define someone, especially someone like you that has so many hours and hours of talking about things. Like to try this reductionist perspective.
Bro,
to reduce
you're
them
so
to this
annoying, man.
ultimately very negative thing, and not
Hate
see
people
that they're
like you,
human
bro.
beings. And also,
Literally make the
fact
game
that it's done by the
unfucking
people
fun.
who want to think of themselves as compassionate and kind,
Douchebag.
which is the most bizarre. The left is so aggressively incompassionate. Like they're
That's
so
for sure.
aggressively unkind with
Letting people die of drug ODs on the sidewalk. That's compassion. No, it's
that
not.
whole thing is fucking crazy.
Well, it's cruelty, actually.
It is, and it's also when you find. Do you know who Colion Noir is?
I know him.
Yeah, great guy. He opened my eyes to the homelessness thing. We had him on the podcast, and he was explaining how he was in San Francisco, and he was like, "What is this? Is like they don't have any money for this? Is that what it is?" Like, no. There's a whole business behind it.
Of course.
And these people that are running this homelessness initiative or whatever the fuck they call it, they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Some of them $250,000 a year.
Imagine making money off the homeless.
And not doing a goddamn thing.
But what's so funny is I do think the root of their power and the one thing they're good at is just charging the moral high ground and taking it in the first moments of the battle.
Yeah.
They just run up to the moral high ground and they're
Yeah.
like, we've got this is ours, and they'll protect that at all costs. And it's like that's kind of all they have is this self-righteousness. And if you can puncture that, it's like you're getting rich from the homeless, actually.
Yeah.
And is there anything more disgusting than that? Some junkie who's dying in misery outside the convention center in San Francisco, and you're making money on
They're
that?
essentially using those people as a battery to expand the power of government.
Yeah, and
Because-
their own personal advantage.
Yeah, they're expanding government. They're making more government employees. Now there's tons of people that are working on the homelessness problem, air quotes. And, you know, they probably all have blue hair and they talk nonsense. And nothing's getting done. And no one's being punished for it. But when they did that study where they said that they had no data, like, how are you... What? You can't say whether or not it's doing anything? Well, how'd you spend $24 billion?
But why are they not treated as, like, the most reprehensible people in our society?
I think there's too many things to think about. And I think most people, unlike you and I, aren't even paying attention to it. They're paying attention to the fact that the tents are there. They're paying attention that if you go to Los Angeles, it's a fucking zombie apocalypse. But what they're not paying attention to is what is going on. How many people are making money? I didn't even know until Colion explained it to us. I had no idea. I thought it was just they don't have any money. They don't put any money in it, and they let these people sleep there.
Oh, no.
No, there's actual
There are all
money.
these parasites.
Yeah,
No.
parasites, government parasites.
Of course.
Those are real.
Of course.
And, you know, this whole idea of, I've created so many jobs. Like, what jobs? Are they government jobs that are just bullshit? Because there's a lot of those.
What's crazy to me, just having spent most of my life in Washington, is how close this is to the lawmakers physically. So the U.S. Capitol sits across from something called Union Station, which is a really beautiful train station, right on Capitol Hill. And so to get into the Capitol, usually there's a massive homeless city there, people dying of drug ODs right there. And so to get to work every day, lawmakers have to like step over the bodies of fellow Americans dying, living outdoors, shitting in the bushes, addicted to drugs, which is hell, okay? And they have to ignore that on their way to creating utopia in some foreign country. And you're like, does it ever occur to you that that's disgusting? That your
It's so
primary
crazy.
duty is to the drug addict, your fellow American, you're doing nothing? And you're telling me how we're gonna make Eastern Europe into, you know, this brave new world? I don't know. I just can't get past that. I think I'm not super sensitive or aware or anything. I'm not super anything, really. I'm pretty ordinary, but I think I would notice. I would. So I was like walking into a vote on Ukraine aid, I'd be like, shit, there are like 5 junkies on the street. Like, maybe we should do something for them? No.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very bizarre. It's bizarre that they can rationalize it, or at least that they don't get called out by all their people. And this idea that it's compassionate, that you have compassion to lead these people and to give them aid and to help them and give them clean needles.
But then you've got to think, like, maybe there's something bigger going on, actually. Because there's an entire sector of the economy now that feeds off of human misery. The drug treatment centers that don't work, the homeless advocates who create more homeless, the, migrant workers, American-born aid agencies, workers who, increase illegal immigration and gang activity. There's just all this, people are making money off this. The arms manufacturers that help kill people in foreign countries, et cetera, et cetera. There's a vig in all of that. It's a scam, it's a grift, et cetera, et cetera. But, there's something more. There are a lot of people who seem to be just, for evil for its own sake. And you're like, maybe all the, crazy talk about a spiritual war of, good and evil, maybe there's something to that. Maybe that's not an illusion. Maybe that's, everyone else has always thought that. Maybe
There are certainly forces that have evil consequences that exist.
But they act on people from the outside, and you feel it also on the other side. I mean, people are better than they naturally are sometimes. You feel compassion for people, or true empathy for someone, or you really want to help someone. There's no advantage to you at all. Why are you doing that? It's almost like you're being acted on by good, and all of us have known those moments where we just are cruel for the sake of it, hurt someone for the sake of it. What's that? There's no advantage to us. That's evil acting on us. And I think we're seeing it at scale, and I grew up in the most secular world you could ever grow up in. Southern California in the 70s and 80s, and in a very secular family, and I've never really paid much attention to that. And all of a sudden, not every, but a lot of people I know who had similar childhoods to mine, similar life experiences, are like, maybe there is a supernatural realm. Maybe there's more than just what we can see and feel. Maybe life is more than just ordering shit on Amazon. Maybe there's a purpose. Maybe there is this battle between good and evil around us that we can't see, but that we do experience a lot.
It seems like it's always been a narrative throughout human history. It's always been this recognition. Carl's over there snoring. I don't have my headphones on so I can hear him.
You're snorting or snoring?
Snoring. Carl snoring. Carl the dog.
Carl the dog!
Carl the dog.
I
He
like
snores.
Carl the dog.
Oh, he's the best. But he snores when he sleeps because he's a little French bulldog.
He's a sporty little bulldog.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's the best. The dogs don't get cuter. They might be as cute, but they don't get any cuter than Carl.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I've got some pretty good looking dogs.
Yeah, I have a beautiful dog. I have a golden retriever, but he's not as cute as Carl. Carl's a different thing.
Don't tell him that.
He knows. He doesn't like Carl. Well, he doesn't hate Carl, but he ignores him. He thinks of Carl as a thief of attention only.
Which he is.
Yeah.
Fair.
So, human beings have always at least believed that there are forces of good and evil, and that that's what exorcisms are about, right? The idea that you're possessed.
Yes.
You're possessed by evil. There's always been this thought that there's good and evil. But when did you start considering that and thinking that's real? Because weren't you at one point in time, weren't you a Grateful Dead head?
Oh, yeah.
So you
Listen to him this morning. Yeah.
You used to travel around with them?
Yeah.
How old were you when that was going on?
I went to my first Dead show in December of 1984, so I was 15 at, speaking of the San Francisco Civic Center. Yeah, the New Year's shows, so they've always played in Oakland, but one year they played at the in San Francisco. And so we were in Tahoe over Christmas, and for some reason my dad was going nowhere, so my brother and I drove illegally from Tahoe in the family vehicle to downtown San Francisco.
How old was your brother?
13.
So you drove? Or
Yeah,
he drove?
I drove.
15, you drove.
Yeah.
Wow.
From Tahoe, so it wasn't 4 hours. And I remember being on the freeway. I'm like,
At 15.
well, we had a pretty different kind of childhood. But anyway, we didn't.
Is that you?
Yeah, it's me on the left.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that picture is hanging in my barn, and I've never, I don't release any pictures of myself or family or anything like that. And somebody came to my barn and took a picture that's hanging next to my sink, and put it on the internet.
Wow.
So that's my brother Buckley on the right. That picture was taken. So my dad was a reporter in San Francisco in the '60s, and pretty well-known reporter, and that was in the '80s when I was in school, and we were home for Christmas vacation, and he had covered the Grateful Dead. He knew the Grateful Dead. My dad did. So they were in his office. They came through D.C. and they called him, and they came over to his office. Jerry came over to his office, and my dad's like, "I've got Jerry Garcia here. You guys should come down." So my brother and I, we lived in Georgetown, and we had a Vespa. Remember those?
Yeah.
And we drove our Vespa. It was freaking cold out. I'll never forget that. We drove our Vespa down to 6th and E or whatever, where my dad's office was, and there was Jerry. I'd never met him before. He was missing the middle finger of his right hand, famously. The famous handprint, Grateful Dead handprint. But when he shook his hand, you could feel it collapse, kind of, because he didn't have that middle finger. But anyway, so my brother and I drove to this.
That was the most
to the New Year show. It was actually a couple nights before
ridiculous wipeout I've ever had in this game yet.
And we were in the park across from there, and we were whatever doing whatever things that people do at dead shows. And we were pretty freaking out of it. And this guy comes up out of nowhere and puts a ticket right in my face. He goes, "Here," hands me a ticket. So my brother, extremely out of it. He was, I never should have done this, but I was like, "All right, man, I'm going in." All right, and I left my little brother in the park during the show, just very, very impaired, super, super impaired. It was completely wrong to do something like that, but I did do it. And then I went in and saw the show. Kind of freaked out and get in the men's room for a while. I'll never forget that. Standing on the stall smoking cigarettes.
Is it acid?
It was psilocybin mushrooms. Which, by the way, I should just say, I got sober 22 years ago. I'm completely opposed to anything. I don't take Advil. I'm totally opposed to anything, but other than nicotine and coffee. But yeah, it was mushrooms, so we ate way too many, and started to kind of melt down a little bit. But anyway, the point is, I get out of the show. This is pre-cell phone. This is 1984, and I get out of the show, and they played actually a lot of tunes that they didn't play. They played Spoonful. They didn't play Spoonful a lot. It was a pretty obscure tune. I'd never heard it before, actually. And I couldn't find my brother, my little brother. And I'm in charge, and my closest friend and lifelong friends. Talked to him this morning, and but I couldn't find him. And I was like, "Oh man, my brother's gone." But there he was. He appeared an hour later. He had spent the entire show in somebody's van parked there, but he seemed undamaged, and it was great. I mean, not everything about it is great. I mean, I do think the drug thing got, definitely hurt people for sure. But from my perspective, I went to a bunch, probably 50 or more shows, and really enjoyed it. And I love the fact that they had 2 drummers. That was a huge thing for me. I love rhythm. I think it's the basis of music. It's obviously the basis of music. I mean, instruments are cool, but they're kind of like interior design, and the architecture is rhythm, and it's the universal sound that every culture appreciates because it reflects something that's pre-existing, that's in you. Everyone relates to rhythm, and I just absolutely loved the drums. And they would always play, it was called drums, actually, but they would play a section of every show was just drums. Bill Kreutzmann and Mickey Hart just going crazy on the drums. They had drum circles, and I just like drums. To this day, I listen to drums, just percussion. King Sunny Ade, great West African drummer, and anyway, whatever. So yeah, I like the Grateful Dead a lot, and still do. And I like that kind of music.
Jam music?
I like jam music. I like acoustic music. I love bluegrass and Americana. And to see that grow, to see Billy Strings become a venue packer, Billy Strings is a big act right now. I do feel like creativity, art, has been completely destroyed and eliminated in the United States. There's as we were saying earlier, you can't be creative if you're not honest. It's that simple, and we can't be honest, so there's no creativity. And in the visual arts and literature and architecture, it's died. But comics comedy is still alive, thank heaven, and music, for some reason, has escaped that and is still alive.
Yeah.
And the growth, the explosion of acoustic bluegrass and the banjo, one of the great instruments ever, is just thrilling and like a sign of life. You know,
Yeah.
at this late stage.
Well, I think when there's social pressures and when society's in chaos, art does tend to thrive. Some kind of art.
Some art, that's right.
Comedy certainly does now. Like, comedy's never been better.
But it
It's
came
an amazing
close.
time.
It came close.
Oh yeah, yeah. The walls got breached.
Whoa!
Yeah.
No, but a few years, I don't know when it was, but 8 years ago or something, it felt like, oh, wow. You know, people can't tell jokes anymore.
We kept doing it.
I noticed.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we kept
you
doing it.
kept the little embers alive.
Yeah. Well, it was flames. It's just you know, when you get people in a club and you take their phones away and just have them just be actual human beings and filming everything, completely trapped with this idea of capturing something and putting it online. Then you get to have a human experience.
You mean when people like live in the present
Yeah.
rather than in the future
Yeah.
or far
Yeah.
away
That's one of the great things
through a
about
data line?
going to a good club that uses beyond that. It just takes you out of it. Like, at the very least, it's a break. Like this podcast is a break for 3 hours of phones. No one's checking phones.
I love that.
That's very rare with human beings, where they can just sit down and just have conversations for long periods of time
Yes.
without being distracted by something.
Not in my house, but yeah.
It's a real problem with folks.
It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem, and the one thing I will say about my very unconventional childhood is there was a huge premium on meals and like eating with people and spending 4 hours at the table was totally normal in the house that I grew up in. Totally normal. That was a day. And that was our primary form of entertainment and mode of communication and the thing that we did for fulfillment and fun. And I still do that. I still feel that way. We have dinner parties constantly, and there are no phones, and people talk and entertain each other, and it's like it's so much more interesting. I'm not on social media, but if I were on social media, I don't think I would find that on Instagram. And I'm not attacking Instagram, but I don't think I would find that anything like that.
No, it's definitely a lost thing. And
It's such an easy thing. It's such a fun thing.
it is a fun thing. Yeah, it's a great thing, and I think people enjoy it. I think that's also led to the rise of podcasts too, because they don't get that in their real life. So at least they get to be a person who sits in on these conversations.
I gotta say, this is not being suck-uppy, because I don't suck up ever to anyone, but the effect that podcasts have had is just incredible, and I never would have predicted that.
I wouldn't have
In a million freaking years.
I would have never thought of it. When I first started doing this, it was in my living room with my friend Brian, and we did it on a laptop. And we had a webcam, and we were like,
With my friend Brian.
yeah, Brian Redband of Kill Tony. You met Brian.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
But I just love the phrase "with my friend Brian." Like every bad story, like I
Me
was
and
with
my
my
friend
friend Brian. we were
What
down in
we did.
Mexicali, and me and my friend Brian.
I get a
We just started
3.1. I wanted to get down to
and,
2.9, but I mean, shit.
Eventually bringing in guests.
This is what you get.
Eventually got a studio, and then eventually I got a big place in LA, like a real warehouse, and then eventually moved to Texas. So it all just eventually happened.
But it was not. I mean, I was in another part of media for that whole period, and if you had asked me up until the last few years, like the future is clearly shorter, crisper, more produced, right?
Right. Everybody would have thought that. yeah.
Exactly. Everyone did think that, including me, and I hated it. You know, I like long form, but I was a long form magazine writer for years, so I thought that was over.
Yeah.
Not over.
Everybody thought that. Yeah. Even my friends, they were telling me how to edit my show. Like, you should edit that. No one's gonna listen to 3 hours. I'm like, $10? I don't care. Do whatever you want. I'm not making
Yo.
money doing this. It's just for
So
fun.
all we need to do
This
is
fun for years.
figure out
years I did it just for
either
fun.
of our EA,
No money forever.
our
What
EA
years? Like how
codes,
many
like
years
our,
did it start to
like
play
your,
basketball?
fuck, what's it called?
Is it like a friend code type of deal?
Long time.
Yeah, it's your
a while.
EA ID.
I mean,
so whatever
it was
your
making-
ID is
it
for
was
your
probably
EA
like-
account, so they have that.
Alright, I opened up the EA app. Do you have it
Yeah,
where
about
it says
5
to
years,
add
and
it?
then it started making money. And then it was
Yeah,
Oh,
have the
this is a
keyboard
business.
over right now.
I remember very clearly. I was on stage
So-
once in Chicago. I was doing the Chicago theater, and I had this story.
It should just
I was
be
like,
whatever your ID
how many
is.
people
Yeah,
listen to it?
type in Spoons
3,700
Inc.
people in the place.
All one word, capital S, capital I.
And I was like,
Is that what your EA is?
That's what my name
I
is.
thought there was this like thing that
I'm looking for
doing
ID.
where, you know, a few people are paying attention.
But
I don't
that's what it says in my
know-
profile.
I didn't back then. I never even knew what the
No,
numbers
that didn't
were.
come up.
I didn't even care.
Well, they may not
Let
have
me look at it.
Could you even collect numbers
Yeah,
accurately?
you can get downloads off of
Import.
you know,
Okay.
whatever
It
the,
says my ID is
provider
Spoons
was
Inc.
that was,
Did you do
the host.
SPOONSINC?
No, because I'm retarded and I don't know how to spell. Of course I fucking tried that.
Alright, you know what? Well, wait, let me see. Is it connected? It's connected to your PlayStation, right?
People are advertising on podcasts.
Yeah, but it's crossplay.
Try.
But
This
it's
is
one of
cosplay
the
name.
great developments
Maybe.
between
Try
podcasting
adding mine. Try.
and release
Oh, actually, I don't know if I can.
I'm serious. I have hope that it's not all
Yeah.
going in the wrong direction because you can get this view that like everything is
Oh,
falling
wait, hold on.
apart.
Maybe I don't
Late
have.
Rome,
Yeah.
just a matter of time.
Maybe
before,
EA Play is
the
different from, like, an
collapse.
EA
And you see
account.
these signs that are not minor.
Is that what you're using EA Play?
Yeah.
No, people. I mean, I haven't met a person
Just like
in
San
the past
Andreas.
year who said, you know, I thought this, but then
What the
I was
game?
reading the New York Times and I realized I was wrong. Like not one
Oh,
person.
Right.
But I can import my PlayStation friends, maybe. I just gotta.
It's like,
Yeah.
What if you go? So when you go to, so you have to leave the
Yeah, that's
game.
why.
Like,
it's
press the
interesting.
start button
It's
in the
interesting
game,
because
and
you
press
can
leave
put
game. So you go
people
to the
in
main
front of people.
page, and
And
then when you
they
go
might
back
not
into
even realize-
online,
they might
when
be
you
wrong.
press play
But
in
at
the
least now
garage,
you're
it'll ask you
having
Bobby, and on the bottom it
conversations
says
about
add
something you
friends.
never have a conversation about before. And even if this
Alright,
page
well, I left
is
game.
being incorrect, well now you have a more nuanced understanding of what the
Yeah, but when you
subject is
add
about,
friends,
why
doesn't it add
people
from your
think
friends
these
list?
things. And
No,
you know,
because
this idea of like
you can
platforming
click
people
R3
is a
and
big
it'll
one
do
today. Why would you
search.
platform that
So I have to
person?
click Lakeshore Online?
well, platform is not a verb. And
Right.
whenever they take a perfectly good noun and turn
Right.
it into a verb,
Maybe I need
you
EA
know
Play in order
something bad
to
is
do
a
it. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I don't know
Okay.
what EA Play is.
Platform.
It's just,
Oh, you mean letting an adult human being talk?
Right.
I can probably try to import my PlayStation friends. If I could just import my PlayStation friends, this doesn't matter. Because then I have you on my PlayStation. So let me see if I can just do
people
that.
that are
does it say you can do that?
completely
though?
different.
It says I can do that.
Don't agree with you at all.
What the
Well,
f-
it's especially
Import. It says import friends from PlayStation, but then it says verify my
it's
identity.
just you
So
alone getting yourself
I'm trying to
off.
verify my
Yeah,
identity without giving up my identity.
And also, there's so many people that if you talk to them,
11 to 11.
conversations.
11-11.
Sit down with them as an actual human being and treat them.
Oh shit, he got it.
with consideration.
I'm
talk to
fucked.
them,
Oh no.
just try to be as friendly and open as possible, despite what your differences might be. You realize most people have a lot in common. A lot. Way more in common than they
But
do.
that's the secret that they're trying to hide.
Yeah.
So mind control, you know, the end stage of mind control is censorship, right? But it begins long before that. And it begins by creating false categories that wall off your willingness, that prevent you from wanting to know certain things or talk to certain people. And name calling is the most obvious tool. He's a crank, he's a racist, he's a whatever.
Alright, got the code. Okay,
And then
so
you're
let me
like,
type in the
I can't
code.
listen to that person. And I have to say, your willingness
You got a
to
code. It's
Alright.
supposed to be super
have a
interesting.
conversation with Alex Jones,
Now I'm linking my
I
shit.
think was a revolutionary act, actually. Not that everything Alex Jones says is right. It's not. Not everything I say.
That's so weird though, because like
But
it should
Alex Jones is an
automatically be
interesting person.
gargling my nuts when
And
it's
even if
not.
he's not
So
interesting, he has
Why aren't my cars automatically on gargle mode?
and your willingness to be like, no, actually, we're just gonna
And why do the cops in the game sound like they're in real life?
He's been my friend for more than 20 years.
Exactly, but
Oh
even if
my
you went-
god.
Yeah, but I'm sure you have other friends you haven't invited. And just like
Right.
you were not allowed.
Alright,
to
you
talk
know
to
what?
him.
Watch this.
And when you hear Alex
Shit.
Jones talk, you may not agree with everything he says. You know that I do.
There's some
But you
bullshit.
definitely understand why they told you you couldn't listen to Alex.
You can also enter my email address. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mute my microphone and tell you my email address, okay?
What did they say?
Well, a lot of people weren't happy. We lost sponsors. It was an issue. But I think it did the job. You know, it regardless of what he said that's incorrect. Clearly, the Sandy Hook thing was incorrect. You know, Alex. I know Alex personally, so I know what he was going through. And, everybody wants to talk about mental health, and they want to praise people for being honest about their mental health issues and support them on their mental health journey to wellness. Alex has gone through some real issues, and one of the reasons why he's gone through some issues is because that guy is uncovering real shit that's terrifying every fucking day. And he was drinking out of control, and, he's just fucking constantly stressed, freaking out. And when you see so many lies and so much propaganda and so many psyops that are being done on people, you start seeing them where they don't exist. And that's what he did.
Well, and he's also channeling some stuff. You can't call 9/11 in detail because you're super informed.
Before the fact.
He called it.
Yes.
He literally called it in the summer of 2001. He said planes will fly into the World Trade Centers and they will blame a man called Osama bin Laden. We know that he said that because he said it on tape multiple times. And then he said, call the White House and tell them this. Now, that's all we know about Alex Jones. Let's just say that's the fact set. How'd that happen?
Right. How did he do that?
No, he's channeling something.
You think
That's
so?
super. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
There's like no other. I mean, tell me how he did it otherwise. I've asked him about it. How did you do that? At length, he had dinner in my barn recently. We were talking about this. How'd you do that? I don't know. It just came to me. And that's real. That is real. The supernatural is real. And I don't know why it's so hard for the modern mind, I guess because it's a materialist mind, to accept that. But what you see, and that's not a new phenomenon. It's happened throughout history. There were people called prophets, and there were people who were prophets who weren't called prophets, but there are people who have information or parts of information, bits of information, visions of information come to them, and then they relay it. It's not from them. They received it. This is like one of the oldest phenomenon in human history. So those people tend to be a little crazy, a little imbalanced, a little different from everybody else. Do you know what I mean? They live on locusts and honey in the wilderness. I mean, that's just like they're not like everybody else. And that's clearly part of what, I'm not saying that everything that Alex Jones says is a prophecy from God. It's not. But that was prophetic. And if it wasn't, tell me how it wasn't. In July of 2000, like I lived in Washington in July of 2001. My dad worked in the government. Like I was as well informed as anybody could be about what was going on in the government. I've always been interested in what's happening in other countries. I was aware of Osama bin Laden. I knew about the Taliban. I knew, more than most people. There's not one person who was saying, not one person in Washington, D.C. was saying, at some point soon, they may fly airplanes into the World Trade Centers and blame Osama bin Laden. Like that just wasn't a thing. So if you said that multiple times on camera, there's a reason. Like, and everyone, I've said this to 50 people, what I just said to you, and they all look at me like, yeah, that's stupid. Tell me how it's stupid. Like, tell me how he did that. Like, that's impossible, actually.
He didn't just do it with that either.
No, I'm aware.
He's done it with a lot of things. And that's one of the more interesting things about him is that, like, he talks about stuff. Like, he talked about, like, I'm going to send this to Jamie because this is one of the really crazy ones that he called. And this is like 2000 probably, I guess 2017. Here it is. Let me find this. Give me a second here. Because I sent it to him like, how the fuck did you call this? Because it's one of those ones where you're like, this is exactly what's happening now. Here it is. Here, 2017. Hold on a second. I'll send you this, Jamie. Come on. Technology, let's go. All right. I sent it to you, Jamie. So this is some guy's Instagram clip that I found that took a clip from the podcast, and he's doing commentary over. Put these on real quick. You got it? Okay, cool. Here we go.
22 years on podcasts, InfoWars, Alex Jones, and Joe Rogan discuss what's currently happening right now. Google, CERN, technology, vampires, aliens. In a nutshell, Alex
So,
Okay. Yeah, pour another shot of that.
the media.
Let's get this out properly.
All right, let me give you my best, please. Deep research approximation once again.
What do you think is going? But am I wrong to still hold out hope that aliens are real? Because I tell you, as the two guilty pleasures that I still cling to is Bigfoot and aliens. Those are two. Bigfoot, not so much. I wish it was real, but I just don't.
Are you ready?
Yes. Bigfoot's real?
No.
Come on, Daddy.
No. Are you ready?
Yes.
I'm gonna give you the big enchilada. Joe, there are
Yes.
aliens in this room right now.
For real?
Yeah, you're not of this world, bro.
Me?
You're the alien.
Oh, wow. I didn't know.
Well, here's what the elite believe, and let me be very clear because the media will take this out of context. I only go with what I can prove.
Oh, thank you.
And people can't even handle that. There's armies. We're fighting a pedophile conspiracy, but beyond that, it's a vampire conspiracy in that they are interdimensionally sucking the essence of our youth.
Right.
And they believe they're possessed by an off-world entity.
They do?
Yeah, and then, Joe, I've been on air 22 years. I don't get into aliens, metaphysical, religion, any of that. I've studied the elite, and I've also communicated with a lot of the top people. And if you want to know, I will actually break down right now the best knowledge right now what's happening on the planet.
What's happening?
The elite are all about transcendence and living forever and the secrets of the universe, and they want to know all this. Some are good, some are bad, some are a mix. But the good ones don't ever want to organize. The bad ones tend to want to organize because they lust after power. Powerful consciousnesses don't want to dominate other people. They want to empower them, so they don't tend to get together until things are really late in the game. Then they come together. Evil's always defeated because good is so much stronger. And we're on this planet, and Einstein's physics showed it, Max Planck's physics showed it, there's at least 12 dimensions. And now that's why all the top scientists and billionaires are coming out saying it's a false hologram. It is artificial. The computers are scanning it and finding tension points where it's artificially projected and gravity's bleeding in to this universe. That's what they call dark matter. So we're like a thought or a dream that's a wisp in some computer program, some God's mind, whatever. They're proving it all. It's all coming out. Now, there's like this sub-transmission zone below the third dimension that's just turned over to the most horrible things is what it resonates to. And it's trying to get up into the third dimension. That's just a basic level consciousness to launch into the next levels. And our species is already way up at the fifth, sixth dimension, consciously, our best people. But there's this big war trying to basically destroy humanity because humanity has free will, and there's a decision to which level we want to go to. We have free will, so evil's allowed to come and contend, not just good. And the elites themselves believe they're racing using human technology to try to take our best minds and build some type of breakaway civilization where they're going to merge with machines, transcend, and break away from the failed species that is man, which is kind of like a false transmission because they're thinking what they are is ugly and bad, projecting it onto themselves instead of believing, no, it's a human test about building us up. And so Google was set up 18, 19 years ago. I knew about this before it was declassified. I'm just saying I have good sources. That they wanted to build a giant artificial system. And Google believes that the first artificial intelligence will be a supercomputer based on the neuron activities of the hive mind of humanity with billions of people wired into it with the Internet of Things. And so all of our thoughts go into it, and we're actually building a computer that has real neurons in real time that's also psychically connected to us that are organic creatures so that they will have current prediction powers, future prediction powers, a true crystal ball. But the big secret is, once you have a crystal ball and know the future, you can add stimuli beforehand and make decisions that control the future.
It's still muted, so maybe they didn't hear me say anything, so they won't fucking steal my identity. Yo, if y'all steal my identity, I'm gonna have to come and find you and fucking stab you up. Much love, no threats. I mean that as an innuendo. Wink, wink. Dude, how many people do you think they have working at fucking Madison Square Garden? Like 11D?
At NEA? Not enough to find the fucking account.
Maybe if I close the app and open it, some shit will happen.
Like, fuck, dude.
I closed it. I closed. You know they haven't worked all the kinks out of EA yet, bro. You know they still have to deduce the arithmetics.
So,
I'm just saying, it doesn't make any fucking sense to me that I can find my iPhone, but I can't find my EA account.
The people I mean, it's just like.
Have you tried the science?
I'm just saying, I'm not gay or anything, but like.
Why?
EA is.
Did you see that interview?
Not gay or anything, but like I drive a car real fast for it.
Yeah, that's the only bad thing about playing too much Need for Speed lately is I'm like tweaking when I'm really driving. I've been thinking like, yo, I can go around you mad fast, bro. You won't even see me.
I already do that. That's how I learned how to drive.
Yeah.
I did it earlier today. There was a girl. There was some
two things he said.
Woman going mad slow. Oh no, there was a mail truck or some shit, and I was zooming past the mail truck, and this guy was speeding up in front of me, and I was like, oh, this guy really wants us both to die. I was like, oh, word.
Has believed that there is.
Oh, and then I saw like a head-on collision that happened too, like right after it happened. I was like, damn, bro.
Should have hit him and just went to the gas station and recovered your health.
I hit him, then I went to the gas station.
Could you imagine getting like a full wreck, you T-bone someone, and then you drive to the gas station like, what the fuck's happening? Why is my car
I
not
don't think
fixed?
it's crazy, and I also don't think it's crazy to consider it. I don't think we have.
Hey man, I don't know if I can tell you, bro, but your shit got fucked up, bro.
They'd be like, dude, this is bullshit.
Bro, take it up with the mechanic, bud.
It was entirely conventional.
Like, dude, that's so fake, dude. And Need for Speed, if I went through this gas station, my car would be
Why doesn't wings pop up on the side of my car when I'm flying?
Even the term spirit
I hate when
world
people
is
use
probably a loaded term.
Yeah, of course, they're all
video game
whatever
to the
it is,
sense of
right?
reality
Say
when,
it in a
like,
way that doesn't sound
like,
crazy.
for
but the whole
instance, if
thing
someone done an
sometimes is
actual
really
NDA
acknowledge
game,
the
be like, dude, that's so
reality
fake,
of
and
the
2K
physical
would have hit
reality
that.
versus
Like, I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
The second point
It's
that's
kind of backwards.
is that
Yeah,
people
it sucks, bro. You're not really 6'7" in real life.
come together for strength.
Niggas be playing Madden and shit, and then they'd be like, yeah, he would have got through that hole in Madden, I'll tell you that. I tell you what, if another girl was able to tackle him from behind and grab his waist like that, he would have just been able to hurt a lot of it in Madden.
I mean,
That's what I'm saying, though.
independently, who I
It's some
know,
shit.
sort of know, in many cases,
But that's why there's cheese in all the games.
exactly the same conclusions without talking.
Everyone now goes to sports games like they know better than the actual professional athletes. They're watching the field like, damn, he should have juke spin move hurdled on that nigga.
Well, in fairness, Max Holloway told Joe Rogan that the way he prepared his striking was just playing UFC and using two of the best strikers ever in UFC and just trading combos and seeing what works.
A big change in the battle.
You know what annoys me? I know that that's really what he did.
No, he really said it, bro. He really did do it. You know he did.
Many times in my life.
Max is mad fun, bro. You gotta follow him on Kick, bro. He's hilarious on Kick, bro.
Cruel to people.
Holy shit.
Probably even
I know he's a funny dude. That's what I'm saying.
When he's not playing slots, fuck playing slots. But when he's playing like shooters and Apex and shit, he low-key be funny as fuck.
Not something to brag about, something I'm ashamed of. So I'm not
just
saying
like,
I'm always
damn,
been
nigga,
right. I
like,
certainly have not always been
you know how crazy first off you have to be? Because like that's what I do for basketball. Like I play 2K just to envision the possibilities of scoring opportunities. But then like, you know how crazy you have to be like, nah, if I slip the jab and throw 5 of these hooks.
Yeah, but he probably be throwing more combinations than we do. He probably don't be like jab, 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 jab. He probably be like jab, cross, leg kick, jab, cross, leg kick, overhand to a fucking cartwheel kick. Some crazy shit. At least I would imagine.
And the child thinks she's fat. You don't say to the child, yeah, you're fat. You don't do that. You give the child help if you can. It's hard to treat, but you try.
Oh,
if a
you
child
lost connection.
comes to you and says, actually, I think I was born in the wrong body, the last thing you do is affirm that. It's hurting the child. Like, why would you do that? If you love the child, you wouldn't do that. It's really an exercise undertaken for the sake of destruction, the sake of hurting someone. There's no real upside. What's another phrase description of that? It's evil. And you see that a lot.
Yeah.
And why? Like, what is that?
What is it?
And why is it so obvious to even a completely secular person like me all of a sudden? There's a reason for that. History is moving really, really fast. We're right in the middle of it. And I probably wouldn't have chosen to be born at the time I was. I'd much rather sort of reach maturity in 1955.
Really?
Well, I don't know. I don't get to choose. I don't like drama. I don't like change. But
there was drama and change back then.
There was, but people didn't recognize. There was a Cold War, of course. Okay. People didn't.
Hey, y'all. Well, it was fun racing with y'all.
Right. In a way, I don't think.
I'll probably continue racing later on tonight.
I don't have a choice. I do know.
Yeah, I'd rather know.
Small little 3 hours, something like.
Yeah, well,
I like it
then
right
you've got
probably do another 3 hours, something like.
My parents got divorced when I was a little older. Kind of like, I don't want change.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's not up to me.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I was having a conversation in.
Blah, 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 blah. Well, y'all, as always, I appreciate y'all for watching. I hope you'll have a good one.